The game is over, Megatron!
On the contrary, Optimus Prime, I still have a trump card to play.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee McAlpin.
And I am Dave Cook, and this is the One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall podcast.
This is a Transformers TCG podcast that covers everything you need to know about the Transformers TCG.
Unfortunately, the game is no longer being made by Wizards,
But the community and the fans of this terrific game have picked up the reins.
and have kept the game growing, and the game is in a fantastic place right now, like never before.
On these podcasts, we cover news in the Transformers TCG community.
Interview players and content creators,
We cover community tournaments in and around the world of the TCG.
and we also review fan-created sets for the game.
So, with that being said, sit back,
Relax and enjoy One Shall Stand.
one shall fall. What's up, guys, and welcome to One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, the one and only. That's right, Transformers TCG podcast on the airwaves. Today is episode 29, and it is a bit of a spooky one because we are going to be doing the set overview for Monster Menagerie, a set done by the Turbo Revving Old Punks, which I'm a part of, and pretty much the entirety of the crew that is joining me on this podcast are founding members of that crew. So what we've got this lovely, should we say, spooky cake, because we've got 4 quarters. The first quarter, we're going to do a little bit of introduction to tell you who's on the cast. The second one, we're going to talk about the design process of these cards and some fun stuff that's coming down the pipeline as well with Turbo Revving Old Punks. Then we're going to do the overview of the cards, so you guys get to see them if you're watching it on YouTube, or you get to hear about it all if you've downloaded the audio visual or the audio, podcast. And then we've got some questions, thanks to you lovely people out there in the community. So, without further ado, episode 29, hello and welcome. I'm your producer, Lee, and today I have a motley crew of people who have been on the cast because they're co-hosts, or they've been on it before, and we're all members of the Turbo Revving Old Punks. So, as per usual, I'm joined with Dave Cook, the man, the myth, the legend behind the ENERGON Hustlers, as my co-host. How are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you very much. It has been a while.
And it's been a while since I first saw you.
Since we have been on the airwaves. But yeah, it's good to be back, and it's exciting. The set comes out at time of recording in 6 days, I believe.
It's true, but when they're hearing this, it'll be out. Ooh, spooky. Like, look, it's so funny, so funny. And we are joined by, shall we? We've said it multiple times on this podcast if you listen, but we are joined by one of the founding members of the Turbo Revving Old Punks, but the second best cards player in Canada, but with Mafater. How you doing, Matt?
I'm resting well at second right now. Resting well at second.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm so glad that we get to have you back on a podcast, man. The last time we had you on, it was an absolute blast talking to you, and then it kind of, our friendship, I believe for myself and for Dave, flourished from that.
It really did, and all the stuff that kind of followed afterwards kind of just came from that podcast, which is so cool.
It is a little bit insane.
So we got some spooky stuff to talk about today, I guess. So lots of spooky stuff.
We have indeed. Like, this whole project really has grown organically from becoming friends at the beginning of 2020 when we interviewed you and stuff for Arc Wave 1. And the Turbo Revving Old Punks has just grown organically from that point. And we originally said we weren't going to make characters, and that lasted no time whatsoever.
A month.
A month.
A month.
And towards the tail end of phase 1, Mafater had this really interesting idea, and you showed me some art, didn't you, from one of the old Transformers Legends mobile events?
Yes, it was a event that was called Ghost in the Machine, and there was another one that was kind of followed that was later on, and we kind of just started building the characters based on rarity, and just for fun to see what we could do. And then suddenly it just came to me.
Yeah. And I think we all secretly love Halloween between all of us as well, don't we? Like, it's one of our favorite holidays. So it had to happen. It had to happen.
It had to happen, absolutely. And like everybody's character so far has been pretty on point.
That's right. And you know, with sort of the set that came to be known as Monster Menagerie, it's not just us making the cards. I designed the bulk of the cards in phase 1. With some help from obviously the other founding members, but with not phase 2, because we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're not talking about that yet.
Not yet. But Monster Menagerie, like each card has been designed by a different person, and there's people that are either full-time members of the punks or have guest designed something for us.
Yeah, 100%. It's been a real interesting, cool, I think, like we keep saying, organic design process, because we've had more people's input and more people have kind of collaborated with us. And even though we're forefathers, we now have minions underneath us. Hail Hydra. You know, it's fantastic. And it's so cool because we honestly have been blessed with how phase 1 has been received, and so many people just been like, we would love to be a part of this. And then when they've brought stuff to the table, we've immediately gone, well, there's another member, let's just get the paperwork done, you know, because it's been so good. And like they just add something new to the table and new to the team. It's been so good.
Yeah, it's been a blast to develop this set. Matt, you were kind of design lead for this one, so we defer to your experience, obviously designing characters for the arc, and you brought a lot of that knowledge and also your extensive knowledge of card interactions and stuff, because I'd suggest something, you'd be like, no, Dave, that is bad with this.
I blame Techno Magnus for that. It's one of those things where I would present an idea and he'd usually reply with, that's a great idea, but this.
Yeah, that's it. So a lot of the ideas that certainly the character I designed in the set, his original design was, how do we call it, Lee?
Dumb.
You're dumb. You're dumb.
Is it dumb or is it not dumb? I don't know.
It was dumb.
It was dumb. Okay,
Dumb.
Just making sure.
He was a little bit oppressive.
Ooh,
so we've obviously, thank you to Matt for helping us get the set to where it is today, but also thank you to everyone that was part of it. And like, it's not just the creators. We had a team of alpha testers, prominent members of the community that were more than happy to come on board and help us. So thank you to everyone. I'm not going to name everyone because I've not written a list this time.
But we'll also forget them though as well. This is the problem. We'll forget one person and immediately when I see the dislikes on a video, I'll be like, it's because we forgot somebody.
This is it.
Oh no.
The shame of it.
Shame. The shame.
Shame.
No, all of our testers were wonderful. I mean, everyone that's on the Trop team, everyone that came from the Bayformers team, Aaron from Full Circle Gaming has been a very big help with this set as well. So it's been a great experience.
We also did a public beta, so thank you to everyone that took part in that. Again, I'm not going to name all the names because I will forget someone. But thank you. It's something we are definitely looking to do further down the line. In fact, in the not too distant future, but we'll save a little bit of a surprise for later on in the podcast when Matt can talk about the next project.
I'm really, really grateful for those people as well, because I feel like sometimes when you have stuff behind closed doors, like we I could definitely say with the stuff that I was playing, I was like, oh, okay, this seems pretty good. But then other people play tested other things, and I was like, holy cow, I never even saw that. So they bring a whole different look and perspective to it. So yeah, I can definitely say thank you to everyone who's been a part of that. And yeah, like Dave said, going forward, it's going to be a little bit more exciting. But this is a small set because it's a Halloween kind of special theme set, and there's only 9 cards, but a lot of debate, struggle, joy went into these 9 cards. Some of the cards have changed multiple times. One especially is an Autobot who I fell in love with very quickly, but became, I believe the word is a repairing mechanic of depression, I think, was what it was. But then I argued, saying, no, it's not that busted, until like Matt explained some things and a few other people explained it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm dumb. I'm just going to shut up.
No. It's not that at all. It always comes back to Roadbuster.
Roadbuster. That guy.
It always
just
comes
that
back
guy.
to Roadbuster. You know?
Yeah, but he's rubbish. He's not very good, is
He's
he?
rubbish,
He's
right?
trash,
He's
right?
rubbish, apparently. Just wait.
Just wait. When you saw the first iteration of one of these characters, when Matt brought it up, we were like, oh, man, no one plays that guy. It'll be fine. But then we realized this would break him. And then people would want to just get their pitchforks and flaming torches and be like, you guys, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That's it. It definitely couldn't have been allowed to exist that way. And I think that's where, like you said, Brett, like having multiple eyes on the cards, multiple people building multiple decks different ways. You know, we try our best to put out balanced cards. We're not infallible. So if there is a broken, like, interaction with cards that we may or may not see, bearing in mind we've tested this alongside Arcwave 1, Bayformer's World Strike. You know, that's a big card pool, and Wizards of the Coast, and Phase 1. Like, you know, if something were to be broken, the joy is it's a digital set. We can make changes if we feel they're necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think anything is broken yet. We've had some complaints about certain cards, but yeah, shush.
We like to listen.
It's not broken.
We like to listen. We like to listen.
We like to listen and just go like, what are they talking about? And we say that in jest because sarcasm is what Dave and me love, and you should understand what sarcasm is.
It's part of being British,
It's
sarcasm.
part of being British.
Prove
You
it.
can't form digital cues and all these other things, so sarcasm comes out in the forefront for us. You know, it's perfectly fine. So, yeah, we've got 9 cards to talk about.
Yeah.
All different people created them. There was a huge design process. We had a load of people input and multiple changes to them. So, guys, I think we've got to start the set off right. Have we missed anything? Because I don't want to miss anything. We've said our thank yous. We've talked a little bit about the set. Is there anything we can talk about before we start talking about these final characters we've created?
Just one thing I'd like to say.
Go for it,
There's
Dave.
one final big thank you, and I'm going to name this man. Mike from the Ark, you made these cards again look the shizzle. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yep. And for me, my big thank you is to Technomagnus for the constant support with the rules within this game, for everything that you do for the community, and for the late nights working on these cards with me and the crew.
Awesome sauce. So we said we wouldn't name everyone, but we've named a few heads.
Okay, we've named enough. We named enough.
Our Hydra seems to always get more and more heads in the Trop family. I absolutely love it. At the moment, we're at like 57, I think, or something stupid. It's great. But anyway, let's move on to this set. And who wants to take number 1? Should we? You know what? I'll give it to the second best card player.
I think that's a good idea.
Or
wow.
I think we should. I'll let you go first, Matt. You know, it's a whole different time scale for you over there in the good Canadian Alps compared to us. So
It's true. All right, so the first one on our list we have here is a Decepticon that was created by Mike King, and he is a 7-star tank Bonsaitron. And as you see him right now, he is what tanks needed, in my opinion. This scary, very, very small tank has no problem fitting into just very simple lists that use almost like a mill effect. So when we look at Bonsai-tron right now, Bonsai-tron himself is the Crystallution Master. He is a tank ranged character in his alt mode. He has 3 attack, 3 defense, and 10 health points. His ability states that when this battles, each player scraps the top 3 cards of their deck. Now what that means is you're going to have to remember when you're attacking and defending that this ability will trigger.
Yeah, I forget all the time.
Yeah, we forgot so many times in testing, like, oh yeah, that's it. Oh no.
It's one of those reminders that just happens, and but eventually we got to it. And for Bonsai-tron's bot mode, this is something that was very much designed with the intent of Mike wanting General Megatron to have a best friend.
A BFF.
Yeah. And so if you look at here, we have a new mechanic which we've nicknamed Dread, but it is called when you flip to this mode, your opponent has 20 more cards in their scrap pile. You may play a weapon. Play a weapon from where? Play a weapon from your hand.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, well, Dave, you played a ton of Bonsai-tron, so I'll let you take the first thing about your thoughts on him.
Yeah, like Matt said, he is an incredibly good 7-star Decepticon tank. It's a star cost tank that wasn't there before. He's a little bit more resilient than, say, Demolisher with Demolisher's low health pool of 7. He just slides into a lot of builds. He's quite innocuous. That alt mode ability is quite... It's kind of underrated, but when some of the decks that we've seen in testing, like with Lord Megatron, Nemesis Prime, just watching them burn through their decks really, really quickly. Obviously, your opponent burning through their deck, and it's just, yeah, he's just great. He's a great little package. He can fit in alongside General Megs, Lord Megs, Living Weapon if you want, or doesn't even have to go into Tribal Squad. I love him. He's been really good in testing. And the bot mode ability is quite powerful, but because of the way you're constantly cycling through your deck and then reshuffling, you maybe get that off maybe 2 times a game. It's not particularly strong, but then again, he's an uncommon. He's been designed with that power level in mind by Mike.
Exactly. And the one thing that was really essential for this character is that some of the characters have synergy within the set, and you'll see, or they'll see as we go on, a future character that's a beast works extremely well with this character.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Absolutely. And he's got those 2 traits. In alt mode, he's ranged. In bot mode, he's melee. So you've got some real interesting deck building choices when you're building this.
100%. I really, really like him. I played him a little bit with Dark Mount, and funny enough, that is a scary combination because we're a glutton for punishment. If you do decide to want to run the guys over at Alpha Trion, the Dark Mount stratagem with our Bonsai-tron, I can let you know sad, scary times are ahead, because I can tell you now, it is a good time. I enjoy playing that deck. But yeah, a lot of the decks we saw with Lord Megatron being back on the table, which was amazing to see, because, come on, that card art you needed to make that guy good. And yeah, it was kind of awesome to see Nemesis Prime as well. I know Dan from Pips and Flips, he was playing it.
Yeah, his Nemesis Prime deck with Banzai was scary.
It was really good.
It was really
scary.
Good. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, he's a great character, and we hope you like him. He's 7 stars. He fits in a lot of lineups. He's really cool.
It's 100% true. And I feel, because obviously we gave tanks, should we say, in phase 1 a bit of support, it's really cool to see that we've got another solid addition to tanks, because somehow we all seem to like tanks here at the Turbo Revving Old Punks. You know?
I have no idea what you mean.
I know. I don't know what we're talking about. What are we saying? So, with that being said then, I think, Dave, we've got to talk about the next character then. I think, have we given Bonsai-tron a little bit of love? Is there anything else we should add to it, guys?
I've got nothing else to say. He's really cool. Matt, have you got anything else you'd like to say about Banzai? Any sort of tech that you could recommend?
Bonsai-tron has some secret tech, but you'll have to play Captain Omega Supreme, maybe, or one of the Omega Supreme decks.
I love that. Look at that. What madness. What madness he loves. I love it. So, the next card we want to talk about, I'm going to hand over to my co-host because he designed it. And this is a scary mother trucker, and I know one of the questions later on is all about him as well, but this I definitely think is one of the scariest bad boys in our set. So Dave, take it away, mate. What are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about one of my favourite Decepticon characters from the sort of IDW comics. He played a really big role within them. He's not a very nice character. And Wizards, God bless their souls, their version was crap.
Let's be honest. He looked like Casey Jones as well. I'm going to keep on bringing.
He did look like Casey Jones. So that's probably a little bit of a clue there. We're talking about Bludgeon. And
True.
The card I designed for the set is Bludgeon the Metallicato Monster. He is surprisingly a tank again. He's also a leader. He is ranged. He has 5 attacks, 16 health, 3 defense. He's a whopping 13 stars. And his ability is, when this defends and you flip more colors of battle icons than your opponent flips, this gets +1 defense until end of battle. And do 1 damage to the attacker.
Gotta watch out for that cannon.
You gotta watch out for that cannon. This guy underwent several revisions.
That's the nicest way of putting it.
At one point, he would trigger, when he defended, the opponent would reveal the top card of their deck and he would shoot them equal to the number of different color battle icons on the card. That got reined in really quickly. Because this consistency of shooting for 3 when people were flipping wedge formations and assault formations was a little bit too high. So yeah, he's got tailed down. So the way, obviously, Matt helped me craft this ability into where it is now, and the idea is he is flipping back to his tank mode, and he's defending in tank, and he's going to shoot the enemy as they come in. But to sort of balance that, you've got to make sure that you're flipping multiple cards to get that a better defense flip from a color perspective than your opponent. So cards like Terrifying Resilience work really well on him. Any of the tough stuff. And it's something I want to do is make tough relevant again, because tough isn't very good compared to bold, particularly with the black pip. So it's like, how can we make tough matter again without necessarily giving like loads and loads of just mono blue blocking decks? It's like, well, let's try and make multicolor matter. So that's kind of like the vibe between this mode and the shooting the attacker for 1 as well. If you get lucky and you get the right flip, you're going to ping them off, which can, and it's caused a little bit of concern here, kill someone before they actually do their damage.
Yes.
Yes, it can.
But he is 13 stars, and we wanted something along the same sort of power level as Battlefield Legends, sort of General Megs, that kind of big beefcake character.
And say it with me! Beefcake!
Beefcake.
Beefcake!
Beefcake.
Yeah, we love our beefcake here, and it just seemed right. And he got, like Dave said, he got so many different iterations of him, but I love how he's landed, because we all wanted to keep it with a Metallicato kind of theme, obviously, because bless Wizards. That Master of Metallicato is a fantastic card, and they kept teasing it, and obviously we got Bludgeon, which is kind of sad and depressing, but we wanted to justify that, and I think we definitely have, because the bot side, I have literally been I've cried to the bot side. I'm not gonna lie, a few times where I've been like, oh yeah, that's nothing. Oh dear God, that got crazy. What? Which is definitely something.
Definitely. So seeing as we're talking about the bot, in bot mode, he drops the ranged and tank because he's transformed. He's now got a Mahusive sword, and he gains the melee trait whilst retaining the leader. His attack changes to 6. His defense goes down to 2. And his ability is, when this attacks an enemy that has 12 stars or fewer, you may scrap a card from your hand. If you do, draw a card. If the card has 2 or more battle icons, this gets +2 attack until end of battle. It was
Wonderful.
something it's something we wanted, or I wanted, was to make him have synergy with his signature battle card, which is something Wizards didn't do with the Wave 5 Bludgeon. Like, him and his stratagem just did not work with the battle card, and I wanted something that did. But there's also a bit of sort of sort of temperance with the ability in that he only gets this big buff if he's beating up little, people that are smaller than him. So he doesn't work against Galaxy Prime. He doesn't work against Megatron. He doesn't work against your favourite, Lee, Metroplex, or any of the combiner teams once they combine. So, like, he is powerful, but there is definitely a check to that if it's end game and you're against their big Galaxy Prime, Bludgeon's not gonna. He's only be swinging for 6, which is still good, but it's not always good. If they're the same stars or higher, you're not going to get that card draw. You're not going to get the bonus attack.
No.
I think I've gushed about this guy enough. What do you guys think about him?
Well, for me, Bludgeon was a good experience, because when we first kind of crafted him, Dave, the first design that you made was almost completely different from what we've kind of ended up at, and the path that we started. He mostly focused on weapons and attacking people that weren't able to be attacked. And as we kind of worked on the character and tested it with multiple members of the drop team, we crafted it into more of an aggro character. And I kind of blame that on myself of playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima at the time. And I really had the feeling of that Bludgeon, where he would attack, he would scrap a card and draw a card, and then you would get the bonus if the card was a different color. And it really came from watching scenes of reading manga or anime where a protagonist would simply just push their samurai sword forward or something in that kind of a line of show. And it really came from a lot of that with the alt mode, him being able to fire back before they get even close. So
yeah, like you and me conferred a lot on the design of Bludgeon. I mean,
yes.
A lot. He's probably the one that had the most discussion around, because he was the hardest one to get right to where we felt he was balanced. This character is our competitive character in the set. Yes. There's no bones about it. He is designed to integrate with the community, and particularly the Bayformers tournament scene. That's where we want him to be played. We want to see him played as a rival to some of the other big characters, like Bayformers Gilthor, like Battlefield Legend. We want him in there. But it's quite funny, because we were talking about sort of switching this, weren't we? And you showed me, what was that card you showed me from another game that inspired this ability?
It was a card from the Cartoon Crisis Network game by Cryptozoic, and it was a card for one of the Powerpuff Girls. And I was playing just a game with just some friends, and it came up, and I was like, man, this is actually pretty neat. So it kind of inspired the design process of some of it, just because I was like, man, this Bubbles is hitting like a tank,
And it is true. That's exactly how this ability came to be. We discussed it, because the original ability was completely different.
Yeah,
it was more like a legendary warrior Bumblebee ability, wasn't it? He could smack untapped characters. But we soon found being able to swing for like lots of damage on someone that was trying to hide wasn't fair.
No,
it left a bit of a feel bad moment. Lee, what do you think before we shift on to the next one?
Dude, I love Bludgeon. To me, it just screams the old school and probably new school, because it's just got redone. SNK fighter of Samurai Showdown. This guy is a combo character of craziness. Like, I have seen Dave currently and casually going, oh yeah, Lee, that's just 16 damage, and I've been like, oh yeah, that's fine, and then I defend, and then I'm like, that exactly kills me. And it feels like, just because of the artwork as well, how he's standing like that he's just gone through my Autobot or Decepticon, and he's about to just put his katana back in the hilt, and as soon as he hits the hilt, my guy just explodes in the background. That's what I exactly feel like.
Game.
Yes, game over. Like, that's exactly what this guy's all about. And come on, we always say in our sets as well, we want them to be fun, and we want it to be themed and stuff like that. But we've kind of going forward, we need to have some stuff that's competitive, and we've seen that, which we're going to eventually talk about on our next episode of One Shot Stand, One Shot Fall, when we talk about the Encounter 5 tournament, that we've realized that some of our cards are quite competitive and good, so we've kind of addressed that. And funny enough, the first thing we've addressed was, let's make a badass robotic samurai. Well done. We are great. And I guarantee you guys are going to freaking love playing him. Some of you are probably going to hate playing him, but he is killable. And in testing, he has gone down like a sack of spuds as well. So it's nothing, you know, too crazy, should we say.
Yeah, like he definitely has weaknesses. Like if you stop him from flipping lots of extra cards, if he's got a tough upgrade, we all know Bashing Shield is the best, like, or probably the most commonly played upgrade removal in the game. Like Bashing Shield, just stop him from being tough, stop him from flipping loads of cards, and just play really big guys. If you think Bludgeon's a thing, just play like 13 star characters and you'll be fine.
100%. Play your beefcakes, boys. That's all we're trying to say. If you're going to up against Bludgeon, sideboard a beefcake in.
Beefcake! Beefcake!
Or some sauce. Right, so we're going to move on to character number 3 now. We're a third through the set, guys. Look, it's quite a bite-sized set, to be honest, so we're not going to be here for 17 hours. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about Brainstorm. This is obviously a card created by our good host who has joined us on this podcast, Mafater, and this is Brainstorm. He is 7 stars. He's a plane. He's ranged. He has 3 attack, 12 health, and 2 defense in alt mode, and his ability in alt mode is when you flip to this mode, return an upgrade to an enemy to its owner's hand. So that's pretty good. Just gonna say, because we love the whole point of Transformers is transforming back and forth. That's a really cool ability. I love that. And then we'll quickly go to his bot mode, and then I'm going to be like, Matt, tell us your whole idea behind this. So when he transforms into bot mode, he becomes a specialist. His attack goes up by 1, so it goes to 4. He stays at 12 health, but his armor or defense goes down by 1 to 1. And it says, each of your tapped characters has focus 1. Interesting. So, Matt, please do tell us about the whole idea behind Brainstorm.
Brainstorm came to me when I was playing a game of planes using Arc Windblade and realizing that there were not enough Autobot planes in the game. That aside from the Aerobots, there is really not a lot of plane support for Autobots and a lot of characters. And one day, while kind of just looking through the art of the Halloween set and trying to decide on which character that I really wanted to build and make my own, I realized that the Brainstorm in Wayne 5 was a bit of a disappointment for some fans. Personally, not for me, but for some fans, they didn't feel like that Brainstorm was what they wanted. So I said, all right, well, I'll make the Brainstorm for the set. And immediately, as soon as I did this, I went and read a lot of his plot through the IWD comics. I really like in how Brainstorm works. I like how he thinks in his comics. I also really enjoy his mechanics in the game, so I wanted to reflect that majorly. If you look at his alt mode ability, it really entails that it sends something back to your opponent's hand that is constantly being played out of them. It also kind of goes to the whole theme of the set where everything's spooky. We wanted to think of Brainstorm as knocking the weapon out of the monster who's chasing you as he's getting away. and yeah, we wanted to kind of give him that thought. And while his bot mode, his stats are a bit lower in defense as he's a plane, but his attack's a bit higher, and his ability to give focus to your characters that are tapped. Now that applies to defensive characters and attacking characters. So he kind of shows your teammates that you don't have to worry about the big bad, but if you're not tapped, you're in trouble. So
yeah, I love this guy. I think the thing that shines so much with this guy is his bot mode ability, that ability of focus, which obviously we've talked about this multiple times on this podcast. One of the most used keywords, should we say, or words or mechanics, should we say. Sorry, Techno Majors, I'm butchering words and you're probably screaming at me right now while watching this or listening to this podcast. But it's really cool to see that because obviously attacking, fantastic, defending, like Matt's just said, it's great. I absolutely like it. And the cost of him, for 7, it's fantastic. And, the ability to bounce, upgrades back to their owner's hand is fantastic. And then you can security checkpoint them. Hey, Matt.
It happened. It has happened. It's pretty funny.
It has happened.
It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. Dave, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's definitely something Autobot planes needed, I think. Like, you're thinking about the standout Autobot planes. You've got Captain Jetfire, Wave 1 Jetfire. Obviously the aerial bots are cool, but like they're a combiner team and they just do their own thing. And then in the fan sets, obviously we've had Art Windblade, who is insanely good and one of my favourite characters from Art Wave 1. And there is some stuff in the pipeline. I know that's coming from Bayform's Wastelands when it's released. No, he's really good. Like, he's quite innocuous because like he doesn't scream absolute power, but he's a really nice star cost. 7 is a nice cost. He slides into quite a few different sort of like star cost teams. That Focus 1 is not to be underrated. If you're playing a mixed pip deck that can really help you funnel away rubbish cards for that attack or for that block, and he's very, very, very good with Windblade.
Yes, and just the value of his SRT value is the reason why he's rated that high. When someone gets showing off with his alt mode and flipped again and losing all their upgrades to their hand, or having someone attack you and then you flip all the blue you need like that instead of the orange that's in your deck. So
yeah, and he again, like Banzai-tron and Bludgeon, he's dual trait, so he's got a different trait in his alt mode than he's got in his bot mode. That's something we really wanted to inject into the set, wasn't it? Was like make characters that are versatile and encourage interesting deck building choices.
Exactly.
He is the Autobot SRT of the set. So whilst not as initially pow as Bludgeon, he has got a very, very good role to play.
Yeah, he's a very cool utility piece. I really like it, and obviously we've said there is some Autobot planes in the works from other sets, so hopefully this will be a nice addition to those, because it is quite prevalent that the Decepticons own the skies and the Autobots own, the streets, but, they had to, mix it up a little bit. That's why we got the Stunticons. That's why we got the aerial bots. Just saying is all.
Totally.
Had to change it up a little bit. So, sticking with characters then. Mafater, it's your turn to possibly the one that looks the most, should we say, scariest for a Halloween set. Or should we say, the one that should be in a Halloween set.
We've got Fangry Cursed Nightmare, originally called Grotesque Nightmare by Matt Coles. This is Matt's very first character for our set and for Trop, and he has created one of the most fun characters in the set, and I hope that people really enjoy how he's made. If you look at this character, Fangry, he is a beast in his alt mode, and he has the melee trait. He's a 6 attacker with 2 defense. He has a large pool of HP, about 15, and his alt mode ability. It says, when this battles a melee enemy, your opponent scraps one of the battle cards they flip this battle without using its icons. And what that means is once you all flip your battle eye cards, your opponent then chooses one of their cards to lose. Now, what's important to this character itself is that if you look at the theme in the character, Fangry he's a sky tracker, right? He'd be good against characters on the ground. And Matt really wanted to implement that with his design. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, like, it was a hard one to get right. We tried, again, this went through multiple goes at getting this ability right, and this is the one we felt was the fairest, because originally we had it so you'd only flip the 2 battle cards before doing your everything else and then scrapping one of the cards, and that was a bit too good. So Matt's really injected him into being like this sort of ground pounder, close quarters fighter who is scary. Like, he is scary. Like, he's way beefier than his Wave 5 version. Look at those arms.
They're just huge. They're huge.
He just got an upgrade like Jack's in Mortal Kombat, guys. That's what he's done. It's a really cool, different design aspect as well, because, we do have a lot of characters, funnily enough, that are competitive, that are, funny enough, have the trait melee. So it just seemed to make sense to create a character that, punishes those people, should we say, for playing those melee characters. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty good with his Wave 5 version, to be fair. He's pretty, if you go double Fangry and something, like, he's pretty good. But what does he do in bot mode, Matt?
His bot mode is something that was an idea by me. Me and Matt were trying to get his bot mode right, and through multiple times of trying to figure it out, we were just sitting one day and chatting, and I was like, "What if he just mills someone?" And then Matt was like, "Yeah, what if we work on the mill theme?" And then it started to come together very quickly that this character is going to be used with a lot of Lord Megatron decks. At the start of each player's turn, that player scraps the top 3 cards of their deck. That means on your turn, on your opponent's turn, this is going to happen. Thangri disrupts your thinking. He's the Cursed Nightmare. He's a defensive character in this mode. He goes down to 5 attack, goes up to 3 defense, and he becomes a ranged character. He's now fighting from behind the lines. His shield, his wings are out in front of him, defending him, and how he acts and reacts disrupts the player's thoughts, which is their deck.
Yeah, it's got synergy with so many characters. Like everything we said about Banzaitron is the same here. I think, like he enables so many things, and it's a mechanic we're looking to expand upon in the future as well.
Yeah, Dread is just so fun, and if you think about it, it really puts a stop to a lot of combo Daring Escape decks.
Yeah, it's kind of like we might have designed something to stop those things, eh, boys?
It's like these characters are all here for a grave reason, something spooky.
Yeah. Oh, grave reason. Oh, the first pun of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
You know
first pun of the night. Yeah, I love this guy. I think he's really, really cool. Obviously, we've talked about how many different iterations we have in him. The one thing that gets me every time is like how amazing his alt mode looks, and then in his bot, I'm like, man, his bot looks good. But for some weird reason, I just think he's decapitated a dinosaur and he's just wearing it as a backpack every time. Just because of the 2 feet, just like, brr, at the back. I'm like, no. Yeah,
his
just
legs.
the legs. Every time gets me.
They're like big dino
Yeah, every time just kind of like, oh man, that's so sad. Like, it's just so preeminent when you look at the artwork now. And I apologize for everyone who I've ruined that image of. Sorry.
You've spoiled it for me.
Oh, and it spoiled it. And I think a lot of people who like Nemesis Prime, Lord Megatron, and future characters we may see, which will use this effect with the scrap pile. So
yeah, definitely. And it's really nice to see Matt's first card be a knockout as well. Like, Matt's already designed a handful of cards for Phase 2, which we haven't really started testing, but we've got some really, really awesome ideas for that as well. So it's really good. Matt's one of my local players. He's a local player for local people and for the wider world, obviously. But yeah, like great design. He's just fun. He's a lot beefier than his Wave 5 version. He's cool. I like him.
yeah, real people like him.
He is a ton of fun. So, moving on to our next character, Dave.
I think you should do this one because this is the one.
Because
this is your card.
Yeah.
So if I do it, I'm gonna get on a soapbox.
Well, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay, all right then. Do it.
Speech.
Okay.
Speech.
So, I again was late to the party when it comes to our meetings of we're designing stuff because my life is way too hectic and busy at the moment. And when it came to, Lee, you need a card, I was like, what can we do? And then they showed me all the artwork, and immediately I was like, I remember that Autobot from the cartoon series. And he was the first one that I really, really want to do, in a way. And then Mafater kept, well, let's just be honest, Matt kept I don't know how many memes of the guy holding a microphone he kept sending me, and I was just like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to do it. So I'm talking about Hardhead. It's Hardhead Grave Mistakes. So another grave pun with this set. He is a tank. He is ranged in alt mode. He is 11 stars, guys, and he is 5 attack, 14 health, and 3 defense. And his ability in this mode is when you flip to this mode, move a weapon from one of your other characters to this. If that weapon has 2 or more battle icons, do 2 damage to an enemy. Yes, that is incredibly strong. But also, Hardhead is a walking arsenal. Like, he's literally the guy who wants guns, guns, guns.
Ooh, guns, guns, guns.
Yeah, that clip from RoboCop never gets old. Really, it never gets old. But yeah, guys, your thoughts on the alt mode to begin with?
Sure. So Hardhead's alt mode was something that me and Lee kind of just worked on, and Dave, we all worked on it together, and he really wanted, or I feel like you wanted, Lee, a character in a tank that was more than 10 stars. Like that, you wanted a big Autobot tank. And even though Hardhead is a deluxe character most times, there are other characters in the game, such as Novastar, who's like 12 stars, like that, who is a big character, but she has a deluxe, action figure, or Transformer figure. And with Hardhead, we wanted to really push a character that could use the move effect and encourage you to build mixed colors like that, not just blue or orange shells, to really encourage diverse weapon building from all the different design sets and from wave 1 to 5 and the crossplay ones.
100%.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, that ability though does diminish in usefulness over the length of the game, which is why it's 2 damage. Because we did try out 1 to start with, and it just didn't feel like it did enough, because sort of mid to late game, like, you'd just be down to Hardhead, and he's effectively vanilla at that point in this mode.
Yes, he is blank in that mode once your allies are gone, which is usually what happens to him. So
no, but he's awesome, and I think it's nice to have a really robust Autobot tank, because I haven't really got any others like at the moment. Really, there's not many Autobot. Like Warpath, we've made better with artillery support.
So
He's playable now.
He is unreal. Like, him and Hardhead, best friends. Just saying is all, guys. They're so effing good. So
totally. Good. But it's nice to see him. He's got a good stat line for his star cost. He's good. He's a good Autobot tank, which is what you wanted, I think. So
yeah.
What's he doing in bot mode though? Because this is Spice.
So this is the Spice, and this is the soapbox, and there's going to be rants, and some people might complain, but deal with it, okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's how brutal I am. So, right, when he goes to bot mode, he loses the tank trait, obviously, because he's transformed. He goes to ranged, still has that trait. He goes to 6 attack, and he loses 1 defense, so he goes to 2. But the kicker is his ability, which kind of got changed a little bit due to wording, but now we've got it so it isn't as busted as it might sound when we first read this. So, if an enemy character would cause its owner to return a card from their scrap pile to hand, or the battlefield, or would cause its owner to play a card from their scrap pile, put that card into their KO area instead. Yes, Hardhead gives the middle finger to everybody in the most horriblest of ways. And I can censor myself on this because he hasn't been errated yet, but Rekgar, that guy, everyone in the Trop family knows this. If you play Rekgar, you will see a whole complete different side to Lee, especially when you play that stratagem. And this was kind of designed when I was talking to Matt, and I was like, this needs to stop. I want something to stop this, because he is the one that it's
time to stop.
It's time to stop, exactly, because I think Dave saw me in the most hilarious way ever. I'm just like, this guy. Like, seriously, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to censor myself, but seriously, it's that stratagem. It literally can make or break a game. And there's certain other cards that, really can oppress certain things. And I was like, let's make a character that is not just a beefcake.
Beefcake! Beefcake!
But also, he can stop your opponents from doing some really cool shenanigans, because you know what? We haven't really got a character that can fully stop those kind of things. So
we haven't. And there are over 24 characters in the game right now, I believe, including most of them coming from wave 1 to 5. So
yeah, it's a hoser. It's pure and simple. It's designed as a hoser card, because when we're making our cards, we are looking at what the Arc are doing and what Bayform is doing, because we're trying to have it so we have this harmonized pool of cards that play nicely together. So people can mix and match from the fan sets. Obviously, you can play them with whatever fan sets you want. You know, if it's your kitchen table, knock yourself out. But we've been trying to integrate these with Adam and his Encounter series and moving into what's coming next year with Wastelands. So a Hoser card, I think, was needed. Retgar is very, very strong. You know, Battlefield Legend, returning actions, is very, very strong. There's a lot of characters that have those things, like Matt says, like over 20. It just stops naughtiness.
Stops Alpha Trion, stops Trigger Happy, stops Gnaw, stops. There's just so many. Like, it's a good way to see an alternative as a sideboard character as well. But I mean, as much as this may seem like a hate character, this character is almost a vanilla character in bot mode if you don't have any recursion whatsoever.
Yeah.
100. I was about to say exactly that. Yeah.
And that's the one thing I think looking at him as well is, sure, he has this really kind of like scary text box in bot mode, but also in the alt mode as well. Both these abilities kind of null each other out when you're playing against certain character types or certain decks. Like, he just is a solid, good character. He's got a bit of spice on there, which is nice. But like, if you take away the rest of his team, or you aren't playing certain things that, you know, occur when you grab stuff from your scrap pile or whatever, he just becomes a plain vanilla dude, which isn't bad.
It's really like he needs his allies. Like, you know, he needs his allies to work.
It's true. And I will let you know, just because I'm going to jump off my soapbox right now, play him with Warpath and our amazing stratagem. Here is scary fun running dual tanks, and you can also throw in another Autobot for some spice. But also, I've been running him recently with Sergeant Six Gun, the weaponizer. Holy crap on a crackle. Like, he can hit for a lot. And also, just some spiciness plays, guys, because obviously, you know, Six Gun can basically turn into 2 weapons, so one can be put in your utility slot. You know, Master Sword is a thing, guys, and, you know, replacing one of those is pretty freaking good, just saying is all.
It's super good. It's super good.
And also, you're playing a weaponizer. Like, it's mad. Like, seriously, what's going on?
The most fun I've had with Herdhead was playing an enforcement batons to swap it over and knock off my opponent's weapon, and then gleefully play a Master Sword to only forget that they had played a Sabotage Artemis down. And just lose it.
That's impressive.
And just lose it. And I just be like, and they'd be like, "Did you forget?" I was like, "Listen, I'm sorry."
I'm sorry it was late.
I'm sorry.
I forgot.
3 in the morning.
Hey man, I've done it on camera. I've literally walked a grenade launcher into a Sabo. I'm like, what an idiot.
So impressed with myself. So impressed with myself.
But it is fun to have those turns where, like, there's a good example for the alt ability. Like, you can play an enforcement batons onto someone else, then flip Hardhead, and then move those batons onto him, and so you can remove another weapon. So it's very, very good. Like, it's very, very good. No, yeah, I love Hardhead. I was grateful to have that. Obviously the big boy tanks. There's not many tanks that are actually in the Autobot like lineup, and to have such an iconic character who, yes, does like a good sing now and then. You know, it was really cool to do that, and yeah, completely grateful for the whole Trop family for helping me with it, because yeah, at the end of the day, I was like, I want something to over like Retgar until he gets errated. So obviously, if you're listening to this, the errata card might have happened to that stratagem that might change it. But for now, that guy and the 2 wheels that he came in on. Just saying is all. And everyone knows that I'm only having some friendly banter because I love the guys over at the Ark. But if you ever want to play Retgar against me, trust me, you'll see a whole different side to me immediately with a sigh, and then is obviously repeated multiple times in that. I'm not going to lie. You'll see a whole nother side of me.
This is even more rage than Last Line of Defense Amiga Supreme coming from you now. This is proper rage. Pure rage.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's pure rage. It's just that guy. You know, seriously. Like, even all of us deeply go like, I like playing Retgar, but when I go against him at this current state in the game as of recording, but hopefully we already know what's possibly coming out in the not too distant future to help that stratagem. But at this current moment in time, that guy in the nicest way possible. But I love everyone, and everyone knows that I'm only jesting in jest. So
that's it. One shall stand, one shall fall. Episode 29, rated R.
Yeah.
Rated R with all the beeps. Like, literally, Lee just beeped himself out. It sounded like something from that scene from like Ocean's 12 when like I forget the guy's name, but he's trying to put his song on radio and it just beeps every other second. It's like, you can't hear him singing. Like, literally.
This don't bother you.
Of course it bothers me, mate, but what the do you want me to do about it?
Well, it's up. You can't hear none of the lyrics. You can't even get with the beat with all them bleeps in it.
If you want to sing it on the radio, this is what you're going to have to do.
Well, it's isn't it? It's totally
right. It's
There we go. Awesome sauce. Right. So, Dave, we'll come back round to you. And we'll talk about our next character, funny enough, who's also a headmaster, but not a headmaster in our set.
Yeah, because headmasters are dumb.
You're dumb.
This is my 50 pence over here in the UK. So the next character is a really special character, actually, because this is something we were really keen to do, is integrate the community. We're all about the community here, and I think we've said that enough times, but this is actually one of Legendary Void's Wave X cards that has been harmonized, which is a term that we're using to make fan sets work together. Now, a lot of the community groups have taken this on board, and Legendary is one of those. So this is his highbrow, appallingly astute helicopter. He's a helicopter, he's ranged, he's 4/13/2, he's 9 stars, if I can read right with my glasses on. And what is going on tonight?
Oh, this Retgar's broke here, I apologize.
You have broken me.
You dropped this king.
So he reads, when this defends and you flip at least 2 blues, do 1 damage to the attacker after the battle. Again, hell funny tribe, aren't they, within the Transformers TCG? That there's some dumb ones like Springer, like Sergeant Springer from Wave 4, who is so obnoxious that most fan tournaments have banned him because he's an idiot. And then there's Whirl from Wave 5, who's awful.
There's literally the 2 polar opposites in the tribe at the moment. You've got one that is amazing, and then one that is literally dog shit. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you've got literally the shining star and then a turd. It's insane. It is literally insane.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see Legendary's design harmonise as well, because there's not been much changed here. I think he was a specialist originally. I think we changed him to range to fit more into like the missile firing helicopter kind of thing. I think his his ult ability is completely unchanged, isn't it? As Legendary had it.
We didn't want to go and change a lot of what Caleb had made or Legendary had made, because his stuff, in order to refractor it or to harmonize it with the rest of the community, we approached him and said, would you mind if we used a card from your set that we really enjoy to include it in our Halloween set, because rather than us make this brand new card, we would love to have your card in the set. And he simply said, yeah, of course. And we worked together to get the rewording done, and we tested it with the cards, and it turned out to be a great experience.
Yeah, he's really cool. Like, he's a solid 9-star helicopter. In bot mode, he keeps the range trait, drops all the helicopter obviously, goes up to 5 attack. His defense does not change, which is interesting.
Very good defender.
Yeah, he's good, particularly with him wanting to lean on the blue mechanic as well. Okay, Pierce is a thing, but you know there are answers to Pierce within certainly within the community cards. But his bot mode ability is when you play your second action during your turn, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. Flip this to alt mode at end of turn. So he's really, really interesting in the fact that you can brainstorm, which was his original ability, was like when you play your brainstorm. you can do these things. And we were like, well, let's just make it a second action, because then you can time in with Special Ops mission from Wave 3, Field Communicator, what's the Confidence? Yep, that's the card. Confidence, yeah. So there's lots. We just wanted to enable him a bit more, and again, Caleb was just really, really cool with it. He's like, "Yep, that actually makes sense. Let's do that." And then he gets to flip back to his really good defensive mode at the end of turn. So that's enough said. Really, he's really good. I really like him.
Yeah, and we're glad to have him in the set.
100%. What do you think, Lee?
I love him. I love the playability of looking through the top 4 cards of your deck and then put them back in any order, because then that gives you the ability to plan your next couple of turns if you're and getting the right kind of flips for the aggressive or the defensive flips that might be coming your way. And I love the fact that we've already touched on it as well. We had Legendary on a few podcasts ago. Some of the cards he has made, I'm like, they're unreal, I want to go play them. And that he is open to, like, as we've called it, harmonization and bringing them out with the guys from the Bayformers. Go listen to that podcast. He goes into a bit more detail about it. It's really exciting, and it is a really cool introduction to kind of say, yeah, Caleb, we've like harmonized this card to work in our set, but you can go check out his cards, which is kind of more free promotion for him as well, because Dave and me love that Justice League too much. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Those characters.
They're noise.
They're a bit spicy, should we say.
Anything else to add on Highbrow, Matt?
No, I think I pretty much covered it for me. I do love his bot mode, and I've had some spicy plays so far. And as much as I love playing him and World together, it's much better to go 3 wide.
Right. Okay. So I've just seen what's coming up quite quickly. So what I would like to do is change up the order a little bit. Is everyone okay with me taking the next character? Because the character after this, Matt, you can get on your soapbox and with your megaphone and live the dream. Are you 100% down with that?
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
down, brother.
Okay. So we've talked about this guy religiously on this podcast and told fan sets, we want to do this, when are we going to get this character, can we get this character, and then one of the forefathers of this series, who isn't on this podcast unfortunately tonight, Nazumi, has made the first hoist, should we say, that I know of that exists in this game, and he's a very, very good character. So, Hoist, Fearless Rescuer. He is a truck. He is a specialist in alt mode. He has 4 attack, 12 health, and 2 defense. And in his alt mode, it says, when this defends, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an armor or a utility, put it into your hand. Mr. Oldman there is generating value for you. It's so good. What are your guys' thoughts on the alt mode?
He's cool. Like, again, his ability isn't going to trigger every single turn, so we're quite keen when we design cards that they're not necessarily powerful all the time, but they can have some powerful effects. So again, this comes down to your deck building and how you want to build your deck. There's plenty of good armors and utilities out there, particularly him being a specialist. Field Communicator is a thing. Also, like, I tried in testing him with, like, the Crystal of Power. Because if that's in your deck and you flip it, it's an armor and a weapon. So double value there. You just get a weapon to your hand by cheating slightly. No, he's really cool. Like, he's nicely costed as well at 9 stars. He can go into a nice 3-wide build. He can also... He's a really good partner for Galaxy Prime. And we'll see why in a minute when you go across. But Matt, what do you think of Hoist?
Hoist was probably the most problematic character we had in the set. I love Hoist, but he has been one of the most interesting and specifically characters that we had to get right, because you guys, we promised this character, right? We promised that we would get this character right, and I absolutely, in the end, love this character because the process has taught me so much in design. And his ability is just, it feels like Hoist.
Yeah, he definitely does feel like a rescuer, particularly when we look at his bot mode in a second. Lee, have you got anything else to say on the alt mode before you tell us what he does in bot mode?
I love it. Period. Done. Exclamation point, smiley emoji. He's really good. He's freaking unreal. I love it. And the artwork's sick as well. Like, the artwork is legit. So, sorry for you audio listeners. Yeah, sorry about that.
The artwork for the entire set, like the Legends art from that Halloween event, spot on. Like, every single character looks awesome.
And the majority of the artwork we've had, it looks like we wanted it to be spooky or dark or themed at nighttime. So when we go to bot mode, you can see it's a full moon and Hoist is hunting down Fangry and all the boys, should we say. But in bot mode, he loses truck, obviously, because he's transformed. He stays as a specialist. He goes up to 5 attack, and he stays at 2 armor, or 2 defense, should we say. But here's the kicker, which is really, really fun, which Dave alluded to with Galaxy Prime, and that is when you upgrade one of your Autobots with a utility, repair 1 damage from it. This changed a few times, and that's putting it nicely, because we had some really awesome combos going on with other characters, but then, as we alluded to, Roadbuster, you son of a bitch, why? So guys, your thoughts on Hoist? Because I loved playing him, period. He was so good.
We definitely broke Roadbuster with him, because he originally said armor or utility, didn't he, Matt? And
yeah.
We played like one match with Roadbuster and we're like, no. Repairs 6 damage off 6 damage off an extra padding.
I made someone pack up for the night. Yeah. They're like, I'm done. They're like, I'm done.
So yeah, he had to change. Like as much as we wanted it to be armors and utilities. Like, it sounds crazy because Roadbuster is by no means a top tier character, nowhere near. Like, you look at the other SRTs from Wave 5 that see significant play, Roadbuster is not one of them. But when you can toolbox him and then drop triple extra padding and repair, like nearly everything is taken, no, it had to stop.
It's true.
It had to stop.
And with Hoist and Brainstorm working together, while Hoist is in his alt mode and Brainstorm's in his bot mode, you'll be able to focus and get his armor utilities. It's something that's really cool with the interaction between the two.
Yeah. So it's, again, like, you don't have to go tribal. Really, really cool interactions that are, kind of intentionally designed within the set, but also in the wider game as well. They play nice with a lot of other characters. Sandman, one of our alpha and beta testers, was throwing this guy around with Galaxy Prime like there was no tomorrow, and literally it was frustrating when Galaxy Prime, I'll just drop another Matrix and repair Galaxy 1 damage. You'd be like, oh, why?
I think I was running RC from Wave 1 and Ratchet from the Arc and him, and just basically going, I'm going to do heal. And I think I played a game against Dave where literally at one point I think I healed 4 or 5 with the old craziness of how he was written. And I was like, oh, that was really strong for one turn until we saw Roadbuster. And that immediately changed. It's good.
Yeah. Like he's still good. Like, it shouldn't be underrated, like that repair. Like, repair's a really funny mechanic because it's either not quite good enough, or busted. Like it's a very fine line between the two.
It is undiscovered country that hopefully we will be able to pursue it eventually and find out how to make it better without breaking it.
And he's cool. Like, he's a, without being the pun on that, he's a utility character. He's a support character that can fulfill 2 different roles within your deck. He can net you some extra cards, he can repair a little bit of damage, and if you tandem him with Ratchet is a really good example. Ratchet and him are really, really good together because you still have 7 stars left to play if you're using Arc Ratchet.
Yeah, I really like Hoist. I think we've done him justice. Nezumi was really, really cool. With his first design was sick, and it was really, really fun working with Nezumi on it as well. So
yeah, Nezumi did a good job.
Yeah, he did. He deserves a golf clap because he's not on this cast, which is very, very sad. But also, he gave you guys Hoist, so just remember that. So this I have not seen, which is the next character, because this was hidden behind closed doors from me, and I think from a few others, because I heard what it was, and then I immediately was like, WTF, I don't understand this. So, Matt, explain the next character card that we're going to be talking about.
Well, this character has been around for a long time, but it was not this character that you see before you. And in finding the art and digging through the sets, Many hours spent online just digging and finding Legends art. One night, I came across an amalgamation of Megatron Ratchet. Dubbed Mega Ratchet by Simon Furman, we chose to call this Megatron Ratchet for game purposes. This is the 10-star and one of the key surprise characters of the set. We have an amalgamation of a tank, truck, ranged Megatron Ratchet that was fused together. Now, there's a story in the UK comics that covers a lot of this detail about what happened to them, and Brian from Wreck and Roll recently published an article for us spoiling the character that detailed that.
Yeah, big props to Brian for doing that for us. You know, it's really nice to have Wreck and Roll involved with the spoiler process. He's really, really good. What's he do, man?
Well, the basis of Megatron Ratchet is that he's a tank, truck, and ranged in alt mode. His attack is 4, defense is 3, with a 13 hit points. When you flip to this mode, do 1 damage to an enemy. If it's an Autobot or a Decepticon, repair 1 damage from this.
It's a real nice fusion of the two personalities that make up this guy. And it's cool that you noted that he's called Megatron, because I want to call him Ratchetron.
we all had names, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Mega Ratchet or you know, whatever. But what you pointed out is true, is it needed to be this way so we could have Megatron-only cards like our Enhanced Fusion Cannon from Phase 1, and potential future Ratchet cards. We wanted him to be able to play with them, didn't we?
It's true. And Dr. Death Cannon here has some cool cards coming up for him.
I love that Dr. Death Cannon. We've got so many nicknames for this guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is the abomination of our set, which I absolutely think is so good because of having the name Monster Menagerie for a set. When you get to see the bot work, there's just going to be something before Matt explains it now. Yeah, look at it. It's a freak. It's a freak.
Let's look at it. So Megatron Ratchet in his bot mode. This becomes a unique character where he becomes melee. Much like Dave mentioned earlier, we wanted to test something where a lot of the characters had reverse, keywords in their different modes. He's a 5 attacker, 2 defense, and his ability is that enemies cannot be repaired. And his second tagline is that this has Pierce equal to the number of green icon upgrades on it with different names. So if you play 3 attack drones on Megatron Ratchet, he's only going to get Pierce 1.
And that was intentional, yeah.
But if you perhaps played a new card such as Enhanced Fusion Cannon from Trop Phase 1 out now, you could actually get Pierce 3, like an Energon axe.
It's naughty. It's naughty. He again, he's with how we kind of like were designing and stuff. Again, this is a nod to like how we're working and looking at other fan sets that are within that sort of tournament framework. One of the big boo-boo cards and the boogeymen is Resilience for the Titans and Combinants. And a lot of people have expressed concerns over the card. We're like, well, we'll just make a hoser for it. And much like Hardhead is, hosing down those sort of reanimation and those recursion decks, this is potential hosing for repair decks. And again, a bit of a sort of counterbalance to sort of like heavy repair strategies.
Yeah, and with the character itself, we really wanted to mechanically make him work within the theme of the character. And with such little source material, we really had to kind of focus on the points that were given to us. And with his modes, his alt and bot mode, I really wanted to make it feel like if Megatron and Ratchet were fused together, what would happen, right? What would happen?
Yeah, Ratchet wouldn't be able to fix anybody. It'd just be, his mind would be broken.
Exactly, and most upgrades that require a fetching ability or a helpful need like that give him a deadly ability, which is something that Megatron would have. A normal Pierce, his alt mode specifically doing damage and healing. Let's say if you get a toolbox on your Megatron, what happens when you flip to alt mode? You're gonna heal too.
Yeah, he's really, really good. Like, a massive props to Mike here, because the original artwork for this had writing all over his legs. So massive props to Mike. Mike is our artwork wizard. He has made this shine. Like, you wouldn't tell that it was there. He's done a really good job.
Yeah, and one thing that's important as well with this card is that even though I do have 2 characters in the set, this card was really crafted by my friends that help test and locally where I live, that have helped shape Arc Wave 1, helped test Drop Phase 1. This card was really for them, and one of my friends helped with it. So
yeah, Siros Telos. That's not his real name, by the way.
It is not his real name. Look him up on Facebook.
What do you think, Lee? Because you've not really seen this guy, because he was late to the party, as it were.
I think I love it. Period. I like trucks. I like tanks. But the fact is, I love the dive and the deep dive into the UK comics, which, funny enough, the majority of the Trop crew are from the UK. So I do love the nod that you've given to us with that. But every time I look at the bot mode work, it's like Megatron's holding his arms, Ratchet, it's an abomination, and it just works well with Monster Menagerie. And I feel like you're going to get the best of both worlds with this guy. You've got an Autobot and you've got a Decepticon, so you can immediately go, cool, I've got both of those traits, cool, I can throw in a mercenary, I can do some other stuff, and you can have the best of both worlds with this guy. And it's just really cool. Like, when we wanted to get characters that were spooky and scary, like, I think the bot mode just keeps speaking for itself. Like,
it's full on Halloween.
It is full on, like, scary. Like,
it really is. And I've seen a lot of Twitter artists been, doing this character specifically, and I believe it was in the US issue and also in the UK, right around issue 70, issue 310, I believe. I don't have the link in front of me, but or the information, but I believe that's what it is.
He's cool. Like, I tell you who he works really well with, and that's Gilthor from Bayformers World Strike.
Oh, yes.
Because they're both tank trucks. You're already too tall, but my God, what a too tall team it is. It's fun.
Scary.
And and we may see some more tank trucks coming from Bayformers, so who knows?
I know, look at us. We're just like teasing stuff. We love it.
Who knows?
Who knows?
That was character 8. We're on the final character, man.
I know, this is the last one. How have we got here so quickly? It's because it's not a marathon Bill Moo.
Yeah, because it's a bite-sized thing. We love giving Bill Moo like shit for building like monster sets, but these baby ones are pretty cool too. But yes, Dave, let's talk about our final character. You finish us off with the character overview, and then we'll get to a bit of a juicy overview from all of us, I think. So
yes.
Go for it, mate.
So this is Wolfwire, Lying in Wait, also known aka as Weird Wolf, but we've chosen to stick with Wolfwire in line with the Wave 5 iteration. He's a beast melee, 8-star, 5 attack, 12 health, 2 defense. And again, we've got this little sort of dread theme, as it were. When your opponent plays a green battle card and they have 20 or more cards in their scrap pile, do 1 damage to an enemy. So he has nice synergy with Fangry, he has nice synergy with Banzaitron. And he's just pretty good anyway. Like, he's a beast. Beast and melee, there's some really good beast support from the fan sets and melee support. You look at Angle Moi Search from Bayformers, look at Beast Mode from Arc Wave 1. There's some spice available to this guy. What do you guys think?
I love Wolfwire. This was a entry that was designed by a Trop member. We'll wait to show who it was, but it was co-designed by some of our other members in the group. And Wolfwire was one of those characters in Wave 5 that everybody was excited for, but then when everybody's seen him, they went, oh. And we wanted to kind of keep with the green battle icon theme with the character, and I really think that a lot of people play green battle icons, so it's pretty relevant.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, he's been very good in testing. Like, I was running him in a real hyper aggro build with Wave 5 Fangry. What was the other beast? I had another beast in there. No, I was Mind Wipe, actually. Mm-hmm. Another Wave 5 character that doesn't see a lot of play, but he was really good. Just kind of all gelled together.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kreb, obviously, and all that.
There are so many beast cards that are currently in the meta. There's like, are these wires important? We've got Assuming Control, Beast Mode, and Phaneral Tenacity from the Arc. So
yeah, there's loads of really, really good beast stuff out there. So this guy, again, leaning into that cross-play feel. And he's just really fun. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, he's a fun character. I feel like I didn't have the honor of playing a ton with him, but it just seemed right to kind of correct an error on Wizard's path, should we say?
How many times have we done this? And how many fan groups have like Matt? How many characters in Art Wave 1 were like, oh my god, Wizard, you ruined my boy. I need to make a good one.
100%, because I feel like that's the one thing now that with fan sets we can go back and create something that I think everyone would like, but also personally we all like, because we all have our favorite characters. Like, I'll say it again, I love Blitzwing. He's shit in the card game. But hey, at some point he might get rectified, we never know. But Wolfwire is really, really cool because, come on, Monster Menagerie, the first thing I always think of when it comes to Halloween is like werewolves and stuff, so it just seemed like an auto-include. And just having the ability that we keep talking about, Dread, that eventually will become a keyword eventually at some point, but it just seemed cool to have another character with this ability. So having him run with Banzai-tron as well is kind of a cool thing, because you can get that double Dread shenanigans going and stuff. It's really, really good. I like it.
Definitely, and it kind of like from coming from a Magic background, the discard pile, so the scrap pile in Transformers, in Magic it's the graveyard. So for me, like having like that sort of graveyard connotation is really, really cool. I think it's something I'd like to see more of in the future, and it's something I think we'll definitely be looking to do. If we get a spooky character, we may well have some. Sorry, it's my wife clattering, making cakes for our son on Wednesday. Slam the oven door. Only doing a podcast, Dave. It's not important.
Do you want your cake or not, Dave?
do you want chocolate cake on Wednesday? But moving on to the bot mode, where he drops his attack down to 4 because he's obviously not a scary wolf anymore. His defense stays the same at 2. And when you flip to this mode, your opponent scraps the top 3 cards of their deck. If a green card was scrapped this way, you draw a card. So he can self-fuel his alt mode ability, and he's also very good with Banzai-tron. Shocker.
Yes, Wolfwire's bot mode was heavily inspired by the designer, because Dan from Pips and Flips is a big Wolfwire fan, and also a member of our team, and he really helped a lot with shaping this character from its design. The ability is relevant. There are a lot of green cards in the game, and that feeling you get when you flip them and you watch as your opponent scraps those cards and you see the green card, you just want to howl, because it's just like, yes!
Like howl at the moon, like a werewolf would.
You know it, and I mean, you know me. This set, I made playlists on Spotify to get our teams into the mood, so we could play this, and get it. It was something really fun. And Wolfwire was just, and Wolfwire was one of those characters that just kind of like gave a good vibe throughout the team. Everybody loved him.
And he looks like he's like, I've got Trax's head and I'm really angry. Ah.
And his art was so hard to find. It took a long time to get that.
Like, you have some skills, man, when it comes to finding the artwork, because you have found artwork I couldn't.
Don't sue me, Wizards.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you to Dan. Dan's been an integral playtester for Turbo Revving Old Punks, and he's kind of under our wing, as it were. Like he's one of the boys from the dwarf.
Yeah, he is one of our many, many minions. Hail Hydra!
Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra!
So
you have to put a disclaimer at the start of this.
Come on, we're all. I mean,
all minions are required to wear goggles.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, seriously. So, guys, there were the 9 characters. I would love to go around the room right now with your overview of how you feel the set was, and your overall thoughts on the shenanigans that came with making this set. So, who wants to go first? Dave, Matt, myself, who should we do? What should we do?
I don't. You lead us out, dude.
This set is fun theme, which basically is what the Turbo Revving Old Punks are all about. I love the fact that we've bought a set out on Halloween that feels very Halloweeny, and also the fact that we've got people that are a part of our group that are our lower minions. Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra!
That basically get to be a part of the bigger picture now, in a way, because I loved that we had so much input for phase 1 and there were so many people helping us out that we kind of get to reward them in a way by saying, hey, you want your character, you do it, and you can come to the forefront. And it's been so cool to see so many people pick up that mantle and run with it and really just create something really special with this mini set, which if you guys love, trust me, you are going to love what's coming out later and also in phase 2, because this is just like a small bite size of like our development going forward and involving the community with Turbo Revving Old Punks. I love it. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'll just reiterate what you said. Really, we're blessed to have community members who have helped us bring the set to where it is today. Just props to all the designers that have designed a card for this set, and it's really nice that we had Arc and Turbo Revving working together. Obviously, Mike's designed a card, Matt's designed a couple of cards. Obviously we've got Legendaries design stuff. That's something we'll be looking for to do in the future, would be to make this more of a community initiative. So if you've got good ideas, if you've got something, no matter how wacky it is, it doesn't hurt to sort of like just work as a community and work together. Like something, we're about the community. We want everyone to have their moment in the spotlight, which is why Matt's got a card, Nazumi's got another card, Dan from Pips and Flips has got a card. If you think you've got a good idea, chances are we can possibly make something work. No promises, but maybe. I just love the set. It is so on point for theme. Matt, thank you for suggesting it. That's the main thing. Thank you. This was your idea. I was just about burnt out from phase 1. You're like, do you know what, Dave? Let's make another set.
Well, I mean, I don't know. No recovery. Do you know what I think? I think that this set itself was a way for me to see if I could just make something and make it with my friends and, do something that would be fun for the community. And we really thought about this being for kids and their parents to play something fun back and forth. We really wanted something on theme and something that not every card has to be amazing, but the cards have to be, they have to be good, or they have to be fun, and they have to be able to be used by the community. And I think that the whole process for me was, it was refreshing, and it was really, it really put to the test what, how my, working with people skills could, have changed.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there as well. Like, not every card has to be like tier 1 playable. Yeah, like we've got Bludgeon, who's definitely top end of the set. But then there's other characters like, how can I make this guy work? Just like Wizards did. Wizards gave us a whole menagerie of characters, like from really, really busted to either bad or like, how on earth can I make this guy work? Like, how can I make Blur work? How can I make Blue Streak work? How can I make, Needle Nose? He's someone that needs a revamp. We're definitely looking at him. But do you know what I mean? Like it feels like the sort of like promo box set, like like Magic the Gathering has from the vault. If Wizards were to carry on, maybe we would have got some like holiday sets. Like here's a Halloween set of like 9 Halloween characters. No battle cards, just 9 characters. So it feels like something like we want to do something special for Halloween. Yeah,
and it's what it was. And like I really listened to a lot of interviews by the designers, and something that Matt Smith said, it stuck with me through the whole set. And I was like, find the simplest form of a card like that. Your card doesn't need to have 30 bits of line. Your card doesn't have to have all these abilities. most characters in the Transformers trading card game have one ability. They don't have 7 abilities, and they flip from alt to bot. You know, that's what they do.
They're Transformers. They're
Transformers. You know, they transform. They don't sleep in and get up late. So.
I love it. Any final words from you, Lee, before we move on to the next segment?
No, I think we've said it all. I feel like this set is something really special, and this is only just the tip of the iceberg, because if you like what people are designing now, you're going to freaking love what we've got coming in the not too distant future. So
Absolutely.
There is some serious badassness coming over the next 12 months. We've got 3 projects going. 3, not 1, not 2, 3. And only one of those is phase 2.
Yeah, it's kind of mad.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, blame one of their main heads of the Hydra. Hail Hydra!
We've lost him.
We've lost him. We always lose him.
I've got my goggles on.
Goggles, they do nothing.
Tell you, it's unreal. So, with that being said, then, guys, that's the overview done. You can chime out now, but we have a lot of questions from the community, which we're going to answer, which are all about this set and our design process, and loads of fun ones thrown in as well. So, yeah. Let's get to our community questions. We want to thank you all again for submitting your questions. We love hearing from the community, and this is a chance for you to be a part of the podcast as much as we are a part of it, as always. So, kicking things off, we have Brian Allen from Wreck and Rule. He states, was there any thought given to making Meg/Ratch able to spit out a lesser powered version of one, or both characters upon KO? ? So, I guess I'm going to hand that over to you, Matt, because you're the one that designed it.
Well, there was an original idea to have him, when he dies, separate into a Megatron that's 10 stars or a Ratchet that is 9 stars, but unfortunately the effects of the character coming inside from outside the game really did provide a weird interaction that most people would found out as a negative experience, so it was kind of cut within that. But for spitting something else out, you may see something in the future, which I can't talk about.
I think that's something we were quite keen to avoid as well. Obviously, like, there's several characters in Monster Menagerie that are headmasters in the lore, but everyone who regularly listens to the podcast probably knows I don't really like that mechanic. I'm not that. They kind of warped the game, and we've kind of been left picking up the pieces on how to answer Wave 5 since the game was cancelled. You know, as a fan community, as people that have been handed that mantle of caretaking the game moving forward. I think anything like that can be potentially broken. You know, it's just spitting it, like, you know, as much as I'd love to see the 2 characters like breaking in half and we get like a baby Megs and a baby Ratchet, spitting out 2 characters upon KO would have probably been too good, and we would have had to really look at how he was, and like he would have had to have way less significant abilities and stats. He'd have had to actually probably be a bit naff, and that's something I think Matt was keen to avoid. And we don't want to be, we want to put out good cards, but we don't necessarily want to put out like busted, broken stuff. And anything that can be abused. Peace of Tyranny is a crazy card, and yeah, that's my kind of 50 pence.
Yeah. Also, we want to stick to how Wizards of the Coast design their cards, but not stay within those barriers of design. Like, we want to make sure that these feel like Transformer cards that are familiar to you, but also providing something brand new. We don't want to make sure that we're just throwing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic terms or things on these cards and creating new things. We want to make sure that this feels like the character and also plays like the character and provides you a good experience that you'll remember.
Yeah, I really can't add anything to that. It's a cop-out, but it's true. It's 100% true. How many of us have died to a head popping off and then Fusion Borer and loads of other fun stuff, and then kill that character, and you just go, screw that guy, screw that head, that's stupid, that's dumb, too many times. Right, Dave, we'll go to you for the next question, then Matt, and then vice versa. Cool beans.
So I presume we're on to Hawkhammer's question. So it's Anthony Woodward. His question is, why is Bludgeon so good? Because he's Bludgeon. We kind of alluded to it in the overview. We wanted to make a character that was competitive without being redonkulous. You know, so we've gone over it. He has his strengths. He has his weaknesses. There are weaknesses you can exploit.
The thing that I think that you nailed the most about this, Dave, which nobody has really said as of yet, is that this feels more on point with Bludgeon than most characters designed within the custom card meta at the moment. Sure, there are many characters that have abilities and that are very, very similar to how their counterparts are, but this is the first time I've seen in a bot mode that really, really emphasizes the theme and blends the mechanics into a character, and that's incredibly good for the because name another character like that. It's really done that. It's hard.
We wanted it to be themed, but we also wanted it to be like Bludgeon. Bludgeon is brutal in the comics. He is brutal, you know. But he preys on the weak. He doesn't square up to Prime and the others. He stays in the shadows doing his weird experiments. You know, behind Megatron's back, he's trying to bring back Thunderwing and all that jazz. He's not a nice man.
And we didn't want to dunk on the Wizards of the Coast Bludgeon because that Bludgeon itself is, you know, it's unique on its own way, and people love that Bludgeon for its style and for its stratagem. But I mean, we wanted to make something that was completely different so that you didn't feel like you were playing the same character.
Lee, you've got any reasons as to why Bludgeon's so good?
It's a guy who has he's got a freaking samurai sword. He brings a samurai sword to the party. Like, what kind of guy brings a knife to a gunfight? Oh, wait, Bludgeon does. That's why. Bludgeon does. Like, seriously, if you've ever read any of the IDW, you know Bludgeon's a badass. If you've read any of the UK comics, you know Bludgeon is a badass. Like, we need a badass character in this, and we've talked about it multiple times. We wanted a competitive character. We made a competitive character. You guys are going to love him in the competitive scene. Some people might hate us because we've made him, but guess what? Deal with it, or this guy's going to come cut you in half, because that's exactly what he does.
And you know what? In the comments down below, tell us what you think Bludgeon, who's Bludgeon's first victim would be from this monster thing. Who would he go after first?
So, moving on.
Oh, this is great. This is a question from the best cars players in Canada, and I think the second best cars player in Canada should answer these ones.
Go for it. Go for it. Throw that guy under the bus. I mean, the car, right? Okay, so who is your favorite character in the set, and tell us about them, and then follow that up with what is your favorite type of Halloween candy?
My absolute favorite character in the set is Fangry, because even though Fangry has unique abilities to his character and his bot mode, it was the process of bringing Dave and your friends Matt Coles into our group, who I became friends with, and I gained a friend like that through this whole process, and we've all become a lot closer, and that was probably the most important thing that is to the set for me, and why Fangry means the most to me, and that's why he's my favorite. Obviously, Brainstorm, I made him, but Fangry means a lot because he's the reason why he's the cover of the pack. Matt really brought us together, so, you know.
100%, yeah. Who's your favourite, Lee?
Obviously, I'll be biased to pick Hardhead because my boy's amazing. But I really like Hoist. Hoist was I think it brought it. For me personally, when I built my Hoist deck, obviously it's no longer the Hoist that I tested with because we changed it and stuff like that. But it really opened up my eyes to using characters I never thought I'd ever use before, and it was really, really cool to see a character that we always seem to throw under the bus whenever we talk to creators, going like, where's Hoist? Where's this character? Where's the other one? And we finally the first ones to kind of beat people to the punch for doing it, and hopefully we've brought him to justice, which, you know, at the end of the day, he's an old guy who's very reliable at repairing, and he kind of does that really well, surprisingly. So I would say Hardhead and Hoist. So 2 Autobots, which is weird for me because I love Decepticons. So
You do. So, apart from Bludgeon, because I love him, it's Banzai-Tron for me. Mike's design for Banzai-Tron is really, really strong. Like, He's exactly what tanks needed. They needed a filler character because we have 13-star tanks already. So Bludgeon wasn't doing anything new really. It's just like another big 13-star finisher. Banzai-tron plays uniquely. That trigger on every single battle in alt mode's really, really cool. He's just really fun, and he works nicely with lots of other non-tank characters. So that's, for me, is why he's my favourite.
Awesome. Halloween candy then, Matt?
Halloween candy for me? I actually don't eat candy. This was a trap. I knew it was.
It's a trap!
It's a trap. It's a trap. If I had to pick a candy, it would definitely be the sugar ones. Next.
There we go. Good.
The sugar one.
Sugar one.
That's descriptive. I love it.
Really
That's like that. That's nailed it. Like, what candy do you like? All of it. I like it all.
I like all of them.
I like sugar.
I like them all. The sugary ones, please.
I didn't look at any of these questions. There's a trap.
There is a trap. I think there's only one correct answer here, and that's Haribo Fantastics. You know, there's one thing I'd like to say before Lee answers about the candy. Like, one of Susie's questions was how much was the Arkham Bayformers involved? Extensively. Every step of the way. Every step of the way. So yeah, what's your favourite sweetie?
These are heroin because they're Moorish. And if you ever have
It's not drugs.
It's not drugs, but this candy is a drug, dude. If you ever have the drumstick squidgies or squishies, straight up heroin. They're so Moorish. Like you have one bag of these, you're like, okay, I'm done. But also at the same time, I know I'm going to go back and get another one at some point in the not too distant future. They are literally our go-to snacks whenever we have game nights or whenever we do live podcasts with all my mates. They're the first snack that goes on the table, literally.
Yeah, and we love that we were able to have the Bayformers and the Ark work with us. Mike and Techno have been a huge help, and the Bilmo and all the testers from there have really helped shape the set a lot. So
yeah, because we're focused on that crossplay vibe, you know, it's imperative that you work closely with your peers in the community. You know, I think that's something that we think is really important. And without their help and guidance, the set wouldn't be where it is today. And I'm proud of you know, calling these guys our friends and our collaborators. You know, it's been fantastic.
Agreed.
100%. Matt, next question.
Oh wow, is it the one from Hunter?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Were there official cards the teams were looking to support with some of the characters like Weird Wolf and Thangri?
I think the answer is yes, but it goes broader than that because we're trying to make them work with like WotC and the fan sets. Again, going back to the crossplay thing, like we have definitely tried to make them work and feel part of a cohesive card community. But yeah, there's definitely obviously like we talked about it in the overview, beasts. You know, there are beasts that work with beasts. There are tanks that work with existing tanks. You know, yeah, it was a big part of the process. I think you guys would agree there.
Absolutely. And when we were looking at how the characters worked first, we wanted to make sure that every tribe at least had some synergy with at least something out there.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of interesting water for us because obviously when you think Weird Wolf or, you know, Werewolf or whatever, he's a very forgettable character, let's be honest. But Thangri, on the other hand, is very still around. That guy is. So when we were looking at like creating these characters, we didn't want to have shall we say, a bad taste in your mouth when we created them. And I think they bring something very fresh and different to the table. And also, like, we kind of covered it when we talked about them, like they all have a specific feel. And there might be characters coming down the line, should we say, in the not too distant future. So you can run some of these with maybe some other beasts that I'm kind of looking at who might change into possibly 3 different things. I don't know. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe you might go bananas over it. I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
We're not too sure yet, and I think the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure is that these characters have some type of theme and story. We haven't talked much about the story. It's something very minor and something very kind of fun that we presented to the designers and the testers when we were kind of creating it, that we wanted this to have a cheesy horror movie feel where, you know, the Decepticons were doing something and the Autobots came upon, you know, the Decepticons causing trouble, then something out of nowhere, you know, something appears that causes them to battle. And we had all the people who did reveals kind of create their own narrative of how they would feel that experience would be. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so some of them even went, you know, Aaron's like red light. Halloween blood red Halloween scape was awesome. So.
Yeah, he made some gameplay videos and he posted a bit of a story before. It was great. I loved it. Yeah.
No, it is awesome, and you know, big shout out for Hunter, Tank Hunter, as we know him, for pitching this question to us. Yes, we wanted them to work with existing cards, and we wanted them to work with other fan cards. That was the driving goal. So we tested them alongside a lot of different combinations.
And the biggest thing was whenever something came up, I have lists upon information based on the sets that we all share together that we have created to help us make sure that we're not stepping on other toes, but also not making cards too overpowered like that.
Yeah, and also like not retreading, like, you know, not making functional reprints of something else as well. You know, trying to make them each character unique, because quite often we come up with an idea and like it'll be like, no, that character does this already. Like Bludgeon is a good example. I'm like, I want him to do this. It'd be really cool. You're like, but B does this. I'm like, oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? Oh, maybe we'll do something else. I would
look at them, and every time someone suggested bold or tough, I said, stop putting bold and tough on everything.
Yeah, there's plenty of characters. If you want your orange clown vomit, you can have it.
Yes,
but yeah,
there's a lot of characters with bold. There's a lot of characters with bold. We don't need any more characters with bold right now. We're good. We're good.
We are good.
We're good.
So the next question is about 17,000 questions in one. So I think we're going to break this down.
I haven't seen them, so I'm curious to what they say.
I tell you, I feel like Adam wants us to turn this podcast into a 3 hour long epic, to be honest, with some of the questions he's wrote. Right, Dave, let's go through them, because this is an essay of questions. I love you, Adam, as well, by the way.
We're going to break this down. So the first paragraph is, what do you consider the hallmarks of good design? Related, what's your position on decision points in game design? Is it good for the game to have auto-piloting decks where most of the decisions are made during deck building, or decks where decisions during play, like which character to flip, can make or break a game? Any thoughts about hoser cards, silver bullets? What about the degree of focus when it comes to designing cards for competitive, casual, or party play like Primus?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's a big question. Who wants to take the lead?
Let's take it apart. Let's take it apart. How the question was asked. They said, "What do we consider the hallmarks about good design, and what was our place in the decisions and point of that design?" So I think that a decision points and design points, and what is good design, is to have team communication. If you don't respect your teammates and you don't respect the things that they've done for the team and the card work like that, you're not going to have a product come out soon. With good design comes input from each team member, experience working on the cards, and listening to the valued feedback of our community and the people who spend the hours of their time testing the cards. You know, I think that pretty much answers that question.
Yeah, I also think, like you touched on earlier, like the simplest form of a card.
Yes.
Doesn't have to have 25 lines of text. It doesn't have to have 17 abilities. It just needs to be, like, most characters, and you said this, don't have more than one ability unless they're like SRT super powerhouses. Like, most characters have like one, maybe two. What do you think yourself, Lee? Is that kind of what you think, or?
I think you both have hit the nail on the head a little bit. So I'll tap it in a little bit more with just saying flexibility. I think flexibility is very key with design. Like, everyone who's worked on this project and all the projects that we're doing going forward has been super flexible. Like, we've all brought something to the table, but then we've also had to be flexible with, we have to give and take away from certain things.
Yes.
But we still have the ability to create something. But the flexibility of that is what makes, I think, our team work really, really well, because sometimes you might, step on your soapbox and demand you want a, demonic tutor on a card, but then eventually you'll see the light and realize I'm being an asshole. I've literally should change and be flexible. And I think that's what everyone has done, especially on this phase, a lot and going forward. So I think the hallmarks of good design is definitely being flexible and being, I think, humble as well, because like a lot of people, sometimes they say it's really bad to have too many chefs in a kitchen. I think for the Trop guys, we have so many that we actually make a really good omelette, enough said. Like, we have so many people that bring so many different things to the table that literally some people overlook, and then they immediately go, oh, yeah, that's what it is. And then you're 100% behind each other.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the best.
Like being open to feedback from not just your peers within the design team, but also from the community as well. Like we are quite proud of, like, we take on feedback. So if you see something and you can break it, let us know. We're happy to change it if we feel it's warranted.
I agree completely. And like with his comment on was it decks that autopilot and decks that are made to like flip like that can make or break the game. I believe that some decks, no matter what you do, are going to autopilot themselves, no matter what. Like that, it's just the inherent design of card games that you're going to have red decks, which is a Magic term. You're going to have aggro, orange vomit decks that are just going to play themselves. And then you're also going to have decks that take intricate time and decision making to work, like Daring Escape or Combiner decks like that, or decks such as we probably a new tactic that's going to be coming out soon. We do not want to have one way to play the character. We want multiple ways. And if autopiloting this character does something for you and makes you happy, but if you can also change the way you want to play it with your decisions, it's just as good. So it's, it really depends on how you want to play it.
Yeah, I think there's like, for me, like, I've played a lot of Magic over the years and stuff, and like sort of translates into X-Wing as well, like where I play competitively. Like having stuff that just runs itself without introducing decision points. I don't like. Yeah, there's always going to be the most efficient build. You're going to pick characters that don't have to flip too much or whatever. But I do feel that there should always be a decision point when you're piloting your decks. Like, do I flip now to do this? Or do I flip this character to do that? I think that's important that you retain those decision points, because otherwise it just takes away... You don't want lists that just play themselves and you don't have to think about. I think decision points are key. And that's what it can make players stronger.
I think
make you stronger.
It does. And I think taking aspects out of the game that initiate what was originally designed is bad design. And with the questions about silver bullets like that and the degree of like cards that are competitive, I really think that if you're designing a card to hose another card, there should be a really good reason for that. And if the original designer of those cards can't refactor those cards to harmonize, perhaps those cards won't see the competitive scene.
Yeah, like Lee said it enough earlier with many expletives about, we've put hoses in, haven't we, Lee? We were like, I hate this guy, we need to hose him, and we did it.
Yeah. We did. I think also going back to like my 2 cents when it comes to autopiloting decks and making decisions, I think the best person to learn that is Metroplex, because Metroplex obviously you can play him very one way, which is really, really cool. But I know Mafater has a different deck compared to me, and we both love playing Metroplex. But that guy, you have to really know what amount of pips you have in your deck and when is the right time to swing with the big guy, and then when you can possibly get that trigger off. And Dave's kind of seen that when he's played my Metroplex builds of how consistent I've now got with it. It's scary, but also I think that's down to learning from making good and bad decisions. And yeah, I think there are some decks out there which, sure, if you want to get people into the game, like we've talked about it multiple times, like Dave, you got into it, I believe, when it was Orange Bugs. Like, that's what you played a lot of against Orange Bugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was late to the party, really. I was wave 3. I held off because I was like, I'm not playing another CCG. I'm not playing another CCG. Oh my god, it's Transformers. This looks so good. And then I bought it. And yeah, my first competitive deck was Bugs. But it ceased to be very competitive very quickly. So, and that's another thing. You know, you want metas to evolve. You don't want autopilot the best deck all the time. You want a variety. I've played in Magic where formats have stagnated with a fit artifact affinity, Jace the Mind Sculptor control. Like, you don't want that. We want to encourage it. And I think the sort of like Bill Moo's next point about like competitive, casual, or party play like Primus, we've tried to put it all in there. We've tried to put it all. We've tried to put competitive and casual cards in, because that's what Wizards did. They didn't just go, here's like 25 hyper competitive characters. Like, here's like, you know, this bunch of characters. Find out which ones are good.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I mean, and with Primus like that, Primus is something that was originally designed by Jamie Madison from the Powered by Primus crew and adapted by, I believe, the Transformer game crew, Richard from there. And they did a great job implementing some, you know, multiplayer rules. And as those rules evolve, different groups will take those rules and make of them what they will. And I think that I think that when we make cards for the Primus format, we're always looking for that consideration as well, because we don't want to create a negative player experience or interactions that would cause this character not to exist in a Primus format, which is the multiplayer format. Yeah.
True. I also think, like, when it comes to designing as well, we've also looked at the fun kind of like builds of competitive and non-competitive. Like, one that we like is Junkion, that the ATP guys do, and we've took that into consideration where our cards stand as well, because we don't, if people are going to play our sets in those kind of fun formats like Junkion, etc., we want it to be like, you can use this cool common card, because that was a really cool, fun thing that we look for. I know that Dave and me love that kind of fun, crazy format. Because
I love the jank. I love the jank.
The jank's all about it. Right, so what's the next bit of his massive essay, Dave?
What do you say next? He says this. Can you talk a little bit about templating, both aesthetically and for wording / new mechanics? How important is it to the game experience for you to have clean templating similar to, identical to, or surpassing the templating provided by Hasbro?
Okay, I can answer that question. That's another question. Okay, so that right there is 100% because of 3 factors. Mike from the Arc, Technomegas from the Arc, like that, and the rest of our Transformers community. We should be so thankful that these cards need to be a certain way. We want them to look like Wizards of the Coast cards. We want players and you to open these cards and say, these look just like the ones that I loved before the game were canceled. We want you to look at these cards and notice that all the words are properly spelled. We use the proper wording. And if we do mistake that, we rectify it. And making sure that we carefully look over all the cards before they're released so that you don't have to reprint them like that or have errors on your cards. We want them to look not like MSC and people who put the work into these cards. And we want to make sure that you, like that, want to keep these forever.
Yeah. And again, gratitude goes to Mike and Techno for their assistance with this, because...
And Bilmo.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, like, apologies, Bilmo. Yeah, like, their input was invaluable. The cards do look legit. They really do. Mike's templates, Bilmo's font, it looks sexy. They just look good.
And I'll give a big shout out later to the person who helped us find the correct formatting of the words as well recently. So it was great.
What do you think, Lee? Like, for me, it was massively important. What do you think?
I'm going to sound like Vince McMahon right now, or be like a snob, but I think ours look hot shit. Yeah. And I've even shown my friends and go, which one do you think is one we made and what Wizards made? And they honestly cannot tell the difference. And these are people who don't even play freaking card games. These are guys who are like, I can't tell the difference. And I'm like, I take great pride in that. So I can just constantly keep saying thank you for that. And I think going forward with what we want to do is We just want to keep making ours look the shit. But we want them to look good. And there's no issues with making our stuff look good. We wouldn't want to give you a half-assed project. We want to give you a 120% project that looks amazing.
Totally. Just to sort of jump onto that with copyright as well, we are operating fully within the bounds of the Wizards of the Coast fan policy as well.
Yes.
So, we've been careful that we adhere to that. And we are very blessed that Mike, and it's just, his cards just are the shiznle. They just look so good. So thank you once again, Mr. Mike.
Right. Next set of essay questions.
Okay, thank you. How do you feel about the allied crossplay community? Do you think gameplay will thrive under a number of creators, under one collaborative roof, or do you think it's a feels-bad endeavor that will only hurt people's feelings and create negative play experiences? What are some of the biggest cross-play challenges, and how do you overcome them? For those creators who might be hesitant to include their cards in a larger, big community experience, like allied crossplay, what advice would you give to them?
Allied crossplay is key. I really think it's amazing that you can come as one, but you all bring different things to the table. If you look at the Arc, you look at Bayformers, you look at us, we all bring something different to the table. And I think that's something that is very, very awesome in an allied crossplay format. Now, when it comes to being all under one roof, one day we all want to be there. That's incredible. But also, it doesn't really hurt the community as much. We've all been a part of this amazing community, and there is literally like two sides to this coin. And it's always going to be like, people want to do their own thing, we want to do our own thing. That's fine. You're still keeping a game alive. And what Dave keeps saying pretty much every single episode, a game only dies if people stop playing it. But everyone seems to be enjoying this game right now, whether they're, doing the whole allied crossplay or just seeking, other ways around it. That's perfectly fine. Now, some of the biggest crossplay challenges and how we've overcome them is, funny enough, communicating and talking about stuff. Like, we have been very open, because we can talk about it. Well, I can, and hopefully I won't get told off by others of my Hydra group. I mean, the Turbo Revving Old Punks. That we've said we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this. And then the Arc and then Bayformers have come back saying, well, we're kind of doing this and we're kind of doing that. And we've been very open and gone, cool, we'll shelve that. We'll go in this direction. And if that's okay with you guys, because we don't want to step on your toes. And it's been perfectly fine with that. Now, for creators who might be hesitant to include their cards in a larger thing, the funniest thing about it is we didn't expect our set, and this is coming from Dave, probably he'll touch on this as well. I didn't expect my sets to be included in anyone's set. I didn't expect our cards to be included in tournaments. We just made a set because we wanted to do our own thing and have a fun theme thing. This thing has now grown organically, that we are now in a bubble of amazing creators that we are all in cohorts with, and we talk to and we communicate with and are flexible to constantly create and make amazing content for this game that we love and enjoy. So all I can say is, don't be afraid to ask for help, because I can tell you, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But if you work in a body that, is pretty darn good, you're not going to just get good things. You're going to get great things out of the ideas that you have. Enough said. I'm off my soapbox.
Go on, Matt. What do you think? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, crossplay is something that Bilmo and not really just at Bilmo, but I guess the communities have been kind of really rallied behind. I've been trying to promote it as much as I can, hearing the community saying we want one community. We just want one group making cards. Unfortunately, that's not as easy as it sounds. And the plan is to eventually get there. But any group that does not wish to join this united community can go do whatever they want on their own. I mean, with this kind of game, we really want to have all ears in every type of person that has an opinion on the game. We want all of their cards in the set. We want to listen. We want to harmonize, and we want to make sure that if you have a good idea and you are willing to have your cards harmonized to the greater effort of having this big community together, eventually it's probably going to happen like that. We want to make sure that this game continues on So with in regards to negative play experiences, if we don't communicate with each other, the reason why I am on Trop is because I'm also a member of the ARC, and I have clear, constant communication with Bilmo from Bayformers. And when people in Design and Magic the Gathering, as Techno had mentioned before, there's always certain people that kind of just skip through teams like that to make sure that everything kind of harmonizes. And with the teams, that's what I try to do. So yeah, hopefully it works. Hopefully we can do that for them.
Yeah, it's a big endeavor to crossplay. Like it has not been easy to design cards with the existing sets from the tournament community that we're part of, let alone Arc Wave 2 and Bayformers Wastelands. Like, it's not easy, but I think with hard work, communication, which both of you have said, like communication's key. Just working together. At the end of the day, we're all still playing Transformers TCG because we like the game and we like Transformers. We're passionate. The people that have stayed are the really passionate ones that want the best for the game to continue in its afterlife, as it were. Like, I don't think crossplay is a feels bad endeavor. Not at all. I've really enjoyed building stuff. Have I made some broken stuff?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have.
Yes, you have.
But when something's been identified, we're already working on refactors. So, like, if we identify something's a problem, and this is where it's good, we're a receptive bunch of people. Like, we're players as well as designers. We started just playing this game and doing silly videos and this, that, and the other. That's how we all met. But yeah, if errors get made, we can correct them. It's a digital age. These cards are digital. We can change them. We'd like to try not to change too many, so we're going to try and get it right first time.
We don't want people to have to reprint stuff whatsoever.
No, because we appreciate, from a personal experience as well, it's not cheap to get stuff printed. It's cheaper than buying booster boxes, but it's still not it's not cheap. So, we're trying to get it right first time. Sort of.
We really have all the time in the world.
Yeah, exactly. We do.
We do.
Sort of the question again, just touching on it, like including your cards in a larger, bigger community experience. That's kind of where we sit as the Turbo Revving Old Punks. Like, we want to hear from you. I can't promise we'll include every single card. That's not possible. But if your ideas are good, then we can look to include them. That's how we. Obviously we interviewed Caleb last episode. And we've harmonized one of his cards and brought it into the wider sort of card base that we're pulling from. It's just something we want to do. We want everyone to have. Everyone has a voice. Everyone should have the opportunity through either playtesting, feedback, whatever. Just come and get involved. This particular project is passion of mine. And I want it to be for the people. It's for you guys.
Come join our Discord. We would love to hang out because honestly, we're always there talking and chatting about Transformers, posting pictures of our Transformer toys, talking about, just fun stuff, the movies, the TV shows.
Yeah. Other games.
Board games.
Like there's a whole menagerie of stuff on there. So yeah, if you want to come and hang out, come hang out. So moving on, I hope we covered that, Bill Moo.
I think we did.
So the next paragraph is
considering more. This is his opening
there is more. There's more.
Okay, keep doing it.
So, considering how many new cards, mechanics, and interactions will be hit in the TFTCG in the future, how important to the game is it to have a fully functioning, independent, regularly active rules body like Equitas? And what would you change or improve?
All right, so with this read here, I believe that Equitas should be changed yearly, and I believe that the person who is most qualified to do the job should be the head of Equitas. I also believe that it should have groups, members from all the factions. That means that we should have all the people who constantly make content. We should have the most active player either on that team, and we should also have open-mindedness about rules and how are they portrayed, how are they interpreted, and also specifically communication, so that we don't have splinter factions anymore.
Yeah, I think like for the long term longevity as well, like it's important that we all sing from the same hymn sheet. Even if our cards aren't legal in the same format, you know, for example, ATP is a good example here, where they have their own tournament format. The templating should be consistent.
Yes, we should not have cards not looking like the other ones. The major concern when making the sets was that we wanted Trop to look like the Arc and Bayformers, so we started making sure that Bayformer cards look like our cards, and our cards look like Trop cards, and Trop cards look like Bayformer cards. So with that unity, it comes, you know, we have to make sure that when people see a card, like, oh, these go together, you know, and it doesn't look like something you printed off from, you know, MSE.
Lee, have you got anything to add?
I feel like it's a challenge. Just kind of like I feel like the allied crossplay community and also, you know, a rules body is very, very challenging and hard, because I think the nicest way of putting it as well is I like the whole idea Matt says of having everyone from different groups be a part of it, because that makes sense, and active players, and that makes sense. But then the problem is sometimes you're always going to have personalities clash. You're also going to have other things that might just clash. So trying to get everyone to eat the same kind of thing sometimes is not going to be, you know, the perfect thing. Because if it would be, holy cow, it would be fantastic. I know the Aquidus group, there's a lot of people in that group that are still playing the game and doing stuff as well. So it's a toughie, should we say. It's a tough one to swallow. Like, I don't think we'll find a regular thing. I think it's a big ask, is what I'm trying to say.
It is. You know, I think like what Matt said, a rotation of members as well is important. You know, there's a lot of people that have the knowledge and the experience and the passion to rotate in and out. Because some of the original members are not active members of the community anymore, and Equitas has kind of fallen by the wayside. I think it'd be good to kickstart that sort of initiative and have some newly elected members. You know, I'm not saying myself or anything. I'm not that hot on the rules, interactions and stuff, but I do think a rotating body would be good. And if someone would want to sort of put that back in motion, then I'm all for it. I think it'd be good. Right, so the next one is, have you considered using mechanics created by other groups? What are the things you look for when using them? Do any features of these mechanics encourage or discourage you to use them?
Okay, can I handle this one first? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Bilmo, do you remember our conversation 2 months ago about Wolfwire? When I said, can I use this ability? And you said, oh yeah, what are you talking about? I'm done. There you go.
Lee, what do you think? Has there been anything from other groups that you think that is hot spice and I want to use?
Yep.
I'd love to. I think there is, but I also feel like sometimes you want to do your own thing in the nicest way possible. As that person's created something, it's kind of cool having that synergy. Like, I can say Legendary Void had that kind of mixing with the Bayformers and his stuff. He's already said that he wants to do that kind of synergy stuff. That's awesome. I would love to do that, but I feel like when it comes to creating mechanics and, you know, keywords and stuff like that, if they've created it, I don't have the right to use it, I feel sometimes, because they've made it. So it's their thing. I don't want to go and say, oh yeah, I want to use that word because that group did it. That's cool. It would be cool if they did allow me to do it, but I'd rather do my own thing. But most of the time, I don't even look at keywords or anything like that. I just want to make characters that are either not made or battle cards that help existing characters. Like, everyone knows, well, phase 2 I can't really talk about, but there's a few things in there that I want to do where I'm just like, I want to do this, and that's all I'm doing, and I'm bowing out, and people have said that's great, and I'm like, that's cool. And I want to do that and be kind of not left to my own devices, but I don't want to steal other people's ideas or borrow any other ideas without their consent. I think that's the worst thing to do, is just take it and not ask. But for me, I don't want to kind of like use any of it, just because I would like to create my own kind of thing and not confuse people sometimes, because I don't know if you play one of our words and even our sets, should we say, and we use a keyword from a set that no one's ever heard of, even though it has that description, the first thing they're going to say is, what the heck is this? And I don't want that to kind of.
Yeah. We don't want to be like, what's Truth and Justice 2 do? You know, like.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. You know, is there a Truth and Justice mechanic? I don't know. But like I agree 100% with Lee. Like Lee hits it like nail on the head.
I think it's always interesting to look at what other members of the community are doing, particularly where we're sat in kind of like this collaboration with Bayformers and the Ark. Like, you know, Bill Moo's putting this really cool new mechanic into Wastelands, which is the rolling action. Like, that's something I could see that I would like to maybe dabble in at some point, but you know, at the end of the day, he's the creator of that, and I want him to have like kind of like first refusal on all the, because there's lots of things you could do with that.
Absolutely.
But there's other keywords, you know, there's stuff like Horde from the Ark is an interesting one. You know, what other Horde characters could we have? Sturdy from ATP is an interesting one. It's a powerful one, but it's an interesting one. You know, like, never say never, but we're trying to be unique ourselves. I think is probably the best way to say it.
And there's been a lot of stuff that's been in the design for quite a bit of time that, I mean, if it does come out and it may seem a bit similar, just know that we've been thinking just like you guys have, and everybody else has, folks have.
Like, there's a finite amount of Legends artwork, and it's inevitable that we're going to touch on the similar things and similar mechanics. Like not every idea is unique, and multiple ideas can come from similar inspirations. So, you know,
the best thing that I could tell for like people designing cards that are in the custom card groups, I'm no expert. I'm just a guy, but the thing that I know is that if you make a battle card and it doesn't look like a card that exists in Wizards of the Coasts, like that, you most times are going to get a negative response from the custom card group community when you ask what your card thinks. Mechanics that included other games like max 1 per 2 in deck. Star cards exist for that reason. You know, there are many options, and every time I see someone put a white-black pip on something, I just don't look at it.
It's dangerous territory, white-black.
It's so dangerous with overwhelming advantage. It's one of those things that when you make a card, you should really think of the end effects that it has with everything. And with this cross-play challenge, we make sure that whenever we design something, we thoroughly look over all the sets so we don't create a negative experience. And that's one of the main things we want to make sure with that question.
100%. So moving on, we're nearly at the end. There's two paragraphs to go. Thanks, Bill.
There's 2 more paragraphs?
There is, man. This is the closing argument almost.
Okay,
it's great.
okay.
This is it. So what does the future of in-person play look like to you? Any possible changes or evolutions that you see for physical in-person events? That's a really tricky one. It's going to vary country to country.
Yes, very country to country. I am not going to talk about the politicals of in-person play at the moment, as we are in a pandemic. And at the moment, but hopefully in the future when thus pandemic does end, we will see an eventual return to table. I am right now of the thought that we should be playing online, you know, like that, or specifically by webcam or within your bubble. So, yeah.
Same here. Like, I pretty much exclusively moved to playing online. Okay, I do play games with my family and stuff, and those in bubble, like Matt. But large-scale, big attended events, probably not the best idea, even if Boris does say COVID's over.
Yeah, we'll kind of put a pin in that one for now. Do you have anything, Dudley?
No, COVID changed everything, and also the game being cancelled changed everything.
Yeah.
So there was ideas for me to do stuff at Transformers events that are in the UK. I talked to Dave about like having a table and doing stuff there and fun stuff, but like we don't know what the future brings due to the lovely Corona.
I think the future is, if you want to play with your physical cards, get yourself a webcam. They're a relatively low investment. You know, if the thing is, you don't even need a computer. Like, if you've got a tablet and a smartphone, like Matt has, that's how you play with us. You do two devices, bish bosh. You know, a decent webcam, if you've got a laptop or a PC, is not too expensive. That's where the future is. That's where all the competitive play is now. So you're looking at the Encounter series from Bayformers and the Alpha Trion Protocols tournament series. That's where it is. It's online, and it feels the same. It feels the same because there's no kind of shared ownership. Like in Magic the Gathering, you'd be like, I'm going to steal that creature. There's none of that in Transformers, and I think most of 99.9% of the fan content creators have recognized that you don't steal your opponent's cards. So it translates very well into a webcam environment.
Yeah, and we never know. We may have trop events, that may come up soon.
We may do. There's ideas. There are ideas. I think post-Christmas.
Yeah, post-holidays, have that happen. And as a member of the ARC, I believe that our team is incredibly interested in promoting the community and having our cards make sure that they harmonize with everything so everyone can play all together. And I think that the ARC would speak on behalf of me that we want the community to work together.
If things change, as in for in-person play, then yeah, I'd love to come and meet some of the UK players. I'd love for us all to get together, go on a crazy weekend of just playing cards till we drop. I'd love that. How feasible that? Yeah.
If you can find my tent in the woods in the far north at the cold reaches, where there's moose territory, where I sit with my numerous amount of cards making my ice fort. In Canada.
Your house is built out of Transformers cards, I think.
It is.
It's built of wooden Transformer cards. What do you think I burn for heat? All those armor platings, bro.
That's the best card. That's the best card. That is the best card. That is the best card. So let's round this up. This is the last question from Bill Me. Thank you, sir. These are really, really good, thought-provoking questions. So thank you. This is strictly for yourself because this doesn't apply to me or Lee. This says, finally, as a Canadian superhero, can you tell me what kind of hearty breakfast you eat to have a fabulous day?
I am do you know what? I am a classic breakfast person. I intermittent fast, but I am a huge fan of just, eggs, bacon, toast, cereal, sausage, ham, pepper, vegetables, omelets, everything.
Everything.
Just slop it on the plate, stir it up, and put it in my mouth. Don't take that out of context, but yes, breakfast.
Yeah, that is huge. That's a big superhero breakfast right there.
What I mean. If I don't get my Wheaties, I can't make those cars.
This is it. Lee, because I feel like talking about breakfast, what's your favourite breakfast?
Mate, can't go wrong with a bacon sarnie, mate. My bacon sarnie.
Bacon, a good old bacon butty.
I'm just saying, you could be emotionally wrecked in a really bad situation, but a bacon sarnie can cure all wounds. That and a donut. We've realised, me and my housemate recently, donut, you can have the world's shittest day, and you can have a donut, and immediately your mood is way better after eating that donut.
I know.
You forget how good donuts are.
You looked at it like, sir, you've lost your arms, and you're like, feed me the donut.
I've got a donut.
Give me the donut.
Give me a bacon sarnie. I don't care.
Give it to me.
No, yeah, bacon sarnie is pretty freaking good for me.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. My favourite.
Dave.
Full English is probably my favourite. I don't have it very often because it's very bad. It depends on my mood. Depends how hungover I am.
Okay.
And there is a fantastic end to the podcast because we have digressed massively. Thank you, Bill, for that thought-provoking question right there. What is the best breakfast?
Question. That was in a series of assaults.
That was
like
a 4-page assault.
That was a bludgeon combo breaker, Bill. Thank you for all those random questions.
Yeah. That was a belligerence combo right there.
Belligerence.
So thank you everyone that sent those questions in, as always. So yeah, near future, what have you guys got going on?
All right, well, for me, anyone who's been following along in the ARC knows that the ARC 2 is still in development. It is a combiner set, and we are still working on it, and it should be available hopefully soon. But with Trop, we have something planned for the holidays, maybe?
Ho, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, it's a monstrous situation, and hopefully hopefully people will like it.
It's really, really exciting, folks.
Yes.
Joking aside, it is good. There is some spice coming. Spiced mold, like a spiced mold wine.
Oh, yes.
Wine.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Lee, what have you got coming up?
I have a lot on my plate, as always. I, funnily enough, have the first official episode of Tales from the Loop currently being edited, which is a ton of fun. Love doing that podcast with a group of guys who I do a D&D podcast with called Rolling Across the Pond. I help edit their podcast, so if you want to go check them out, link might be in the description for them. It's really been fun doing that. Me personally, I've still got some more Imperial Assault to do. Transformers wise, funny enough, I'm gonna hopefully be seeing Dave in like 2 weeks or so, because I've like booked a whole week off for my birthday, so I'm basically filling that week with activities. And funny enough, one of them is to go visit my mom and my stepdad in their new home down in Cornwall. And funny enough, that's in Dave's neck of the woods.
It's in the Shire.
It's in the Shire, so I'm gonna go down there, Mr. Frodo, and we're gonna hopefully be playing some Transformers, maybe some Marvel Champions, maybe Dice Throne, don't know. Loads of stuff.
I'm pretty sure we could do a whole day of gaming.
We can figure it
awesome.
out. It's going to be great. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. And then obviously, guys, we've got this podcast still going. One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. We've kind of alluded to the holiday stuff that we want to do for the Turbo Revving Old Punks. Phase 2 is pretty much in full effect. I've already started my ideas of mass destruction. I'm humbling myself and going, right, this guy can't be as good as I want him to be, so I'm preparing for him to get nulled with a hammer of gigantic proportions because he's a beefcake. But yeah, I think you guys are gonna really like what we've got coming out. Hopefully Christmas time with our set, and obviously with Phase 2. Dave, what have you got coming out on your channel, mate?
Unfortunately, Claire's been really sick for the last couple of weeks.
Oh no!
She's had some sort of horrible flu-like virus. It's not the Rona. It's not Rona, but no, Claire's not been very well, so we've had a bit of a hiatus. I've been building some decks that heavily featuring Phase 1. I've ordered Monster Menagerie. It's been a bit of a debacle, to say the least. Unfortunately, for those listeners that use Make Playing cards, beware, they may not print your order.
Beware, you're in for a scare. Just saying.
Beware, you're in for a scare, so print your Monster Menagerie somewhere else. That's just personal choice. Obviously, I'm not trying to blacklist them or anything like that. Their cards are fantastic. However, I've hit a bit of a brick wall with them. So waiting for Monster Menagerie to come. I have got an alternative source. Thank you very much, sir. You know who you are.
Wink, wink, nudge,
wink,
nudge.
wink, nudge, nudge. In it, bruvna.
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
Yep.
No, I've got some new decks coming for the channel. I'm having a bit of a break. It's been a hard year from a design perspective. It's been pretty full on. So I'm taking November off. I'm just going to play cards and have fun. Hopefully get some more. We're going to look at Encounter 5 because that's the first tournament with our cards. So we're going to have some Tournament Tuesdays coming. The finals it's a baller. It'll have already happened by the time this comes out. Fortress Maximus versus Blaster versus Soundwave. What? So yeah, we're definitely going to feature those two decks, as well as the car driving outside really low noisily. Yeah, just having a bit of a break, having a bit of a chill. Hopefully Claire's better soon and we can get some content recorded. So I've got nothing. It'll be like 3 consecutive weeks, I think, before something comes out. So I'm sorry, but she's ill. I don't. But no, that's it. But thank you everyone as always for your support. I'll let you close it out, dude.
Yeah, so guys, that is another episode of One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall in the books. That's episode 29. Hopefully you've enjoyed our overview of Monster Menagerie, our Halloween themed set. Remember, if you want to download them, they'll be in the links below of this YouTube video and also in the links on the audio medium on Podbean. And yeah, guys, we have so much fun, exciting stuff coming for you. It is amazing. Like Dave has alluded to, episode 30, we are going to be talking about Encounter 5 because it's the first tournament to include our Phase 1 cards. So we're all over that, literally. So, without further ado, guys, it's a goodbye from me, Lee.
It's a goodbye from me, Dave.
And it's a goodbye from me, Mafater.
Yes, and we'll see you next time in the not too distant future for more One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall.
One shall stand, one shall fall.